answer the door. We got bits, but not for him.
Alex?
Yeah.
Well, no, one of the reasons why people like this Curse of Strahd campaign is because the tarot cards are what shape the adventure. So the ones you got are not the ones that somebody else got.
So potentially, does that allow like replayability for people? Like if we played Curse of Strahd and then we wanted to start a new campaign, Curse of Strahd, would the tarot deck essentially give us a different kind of game?
Yeah, it would. It would change your fated ally, which would change your opinion of certain people. The fated ally can be so many different people. Like it could be Van Richten, Esmeralda. I think Irina is one of them. And so that would help you ensure this person that you are with does not fall under any harm. Like, you'd pay more attention to that person. If you didn't have Victor, you wouldn't care what happened to him. Like, you wouldn't go and save him from his burning house.
Because you wouldn't have known.
In you doing so, you meet Mordenkainen as well, and have that a whole different subplot. Mordenkainen helped a lot, even if in his babblings, he helped you figure things out.
Yeah.
Where to go, who to see, what to say. And then the places where the objects are hidden. Like the sword, the holy symbol of Ravenkind, and the book. So they would take you to certain spots. Like sometimes one of the items is hidden in the castle, and so you would not be able to level up with that or have that item until you go into the castle and find it. It is possible to not get one of those things because you have no idea, or that spot is too heavily guarded. There are some things that you missed that are not super important. Obviously, you beat Strahd without him, so a different tarot card might lead you to a different spot, which would have you learn more information about the game that you missed. So that would impact a different playthrough. Also, where you find Strahd is very,
Oh, really?
because you had to. He was in his tomb, his crypt.
Yeah.
And if it hadn't been that, I think it would have been a lot harder, because once he drops to 0, he turns to mist and returns to his crypt. And if you don't know where that is, you have to find him before he regenerates. So I think that helped a little bit. I didn't change any of the tarot cards. Well, I guess I changed the book, but that was later. The Reddit thread that I would constantly look at talked about changing the tarot cards. Like if one of them was the town of Barovia, it'd force the players to backtrack, and it's not fun to do that. That's just going somewhere just for this one thing. So I drew the crossroads, the tower, the Amber Temple, and Victor, who the Reddit thread said he is not a good fated ally, which we will go into when we talk about him ruling Barovia. And then
okay.
Is the tarot reading kind of forced, or have there been games that they like just avoid it? They're just like, no, we're staying away from you gypsies, and they just don't get a tarot reading. Like, what happens then?
So, I mean, that obviously hurts the party because you don't know where these things are that will hugely benefit you. If you didn't have Victor, you wouldn't have those inspirations, and you would have, like, really, it'd been a lot harder. If you didn't have the sword or the holy symbol, it would have been so much more difficult. Also, each one gives you a level. So you would have been, like, 2 or 3 levels lower just because of that.
That would have been a problem.
There's some parties that, or some DMs that go to the Curse of Strahd subreddit and say, hey, like, my party ignored or went past the camp where they get the tarot readings, what do we do? And people will say, well, just have them find a Vistani camp somewhere else, or have a Vistani camp in Vallaki, or just Madame Ava is in Vallaki and she is at the bar, the inn, giving out tarot readings, and we'll, like, call them over or something. It's very important to have those tarot readings. One more thing is the crypt. I drew that one, and I was thinking it is both good and bad to have that one. It's bad because you are in his lair, you are where he will end up if he dies. So that will make it easier for him to find him. But also, it means you will have to explore the castle, and I really wanted you to explore more of Castle Ravenloft.
And we were too scared. We were so scared.
But that was for a good reason. Like, it was totally fine that the first time you were there, you just didn't want to explore. That was fine. The dungeon is endgame stuff. It's fine that you went down there and were like, nope, we're going back up. But
Yeah.
like, if it would been like on the roof or in the chapel, then you would not have ever explored the catacombs. You would
Yeah.
have just stayed on the surface because you would have no reason to go down there.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one reason why people like Curse of Strahd, because the tarot readings are so important and they actually impact the entire campaign, and how you feel and how you play it is so different than a different campaign that you played with a different DM and tarot readings.
Right.
And that like influenced me, because I want to, if I ever do another pre-done module, I think I'll introduce something similar to the tarot readings. I won't have a tarot reading where, oh yeah, your fate is this, but I will have like in different locations, these are where these things end up. So
Yeah,
you have to go there.
It in a way it did help us, like, okay, we have things we know we need to do that we have to find. It was just at one point I remember we were just kind of like, what do we do? Like, we don't feel strong enough to take those things on just yet. And then that's what led to the decision to go back to the windmill. And it's like, nobody died, but damn it, we never finished them off. We never took those witches down in the windmill.
Yeah, I don't know if you kind of got it or if I said this before, but this campaign is all about like feeling helpless and hopeless.
Yeah,
like
definitely
not just being
really?
not just being like strong enough, but like your actions, no matter what you do, somebody fails, someone dies.
I had
even
to
if
keep
you
reminding myself that.
Even if you do the best thing you can, you will fail in some way. And that is like, I don't know. Some people might feel like that's a cheap way of getting, just like making people do things that they don't want to do. But I feel like it's what it makes you feel something rather than just being always good at something. It makes you feel like, oh, we gotta like change our strategy, or
Curse of Strahd, our playthrough, made it feel like this is designed to crush heroes. Like, you think you're a good hero, oh, well, let me give you these terrible... It felt like playing Dragon Age 2, where no matter what I choose, either I side with the Templars and they're gonna go and kill all of the magic users and mages, or lock them up and involve more slavery because they need that manpower, or I side with the mages and the mages blow the town up and then kill themselves too. Yeah. And take on more demonic attributes because they're siding with the demons. Like, there was no good side to anything. And it felt like you couldn't be good, no matter how hard you tried. And yeah, man, I know I felt helpless a lot of times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like,
mission accomplished on that.
Yeah.
A lot of it happened in Vallaki, where it was the church, and then the festival after that, and like, you think you're doing something good, but actually, like, did you choose the lesser of two evils?
Even after that, it was like, in the castle, like, that felt okay, cool. And I felt like, okay, cool, we gotta win where we survived the castle. And Strahd let us go. And then we saved the winery. And I was like, yeah, needed a win, man, needed a win. And freaking dealing with the other Vistani and how aggressive they were, and then the wine and the abbot and that whole situation, and then freaking Brez, and how we were like losing strength. Like we
Oh,
were
that was
literally
hard.
getting weaker.
Yeah.
And
Get
Perez,
weaker after all that. Yeah, that was hard.
which made everything else worse. And then trying to do the windmill again and failing.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I was like, oh my god, I will just.
Despair.
Yeah, I think that was when I was like, I might die. I'm cool with it. I'm gonna prepare another character.
Yeah. I totally had another character ready for the final fight. I mean, well, I think I did earlier. Yeah. I totally got another character put together.
Yeah.
Ready
Yeah,
to
we
go.
both did a while back.
Yeah. I mean that with this game, I
Yeah.
think I put a little bit too easy mode on some of the times.
I
Giving
think that was
giving
Yeah.
Fen
It kept-
resurrection, the ability to bring back an ally.
Mhm.
But we'll. There's so much like all at once. I have the list of your dark powers and how they affect you.
Okay.
Oh,
The
real quick, can I ask you to put all everyone's tokens before and after, and like Maeve and Ren, like the people we played with? Can I ask you to put their tokens in the Curse of Strahd Discord
Sure.
so everyone can like? I want to see everyone's token up close.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like uncorrupted Fen and corrupted Fen and uncorrupted.
Oh my gosh,
Hume
I
and,
was
and corrupted Hume.
well. I never had a corrupted Hazel, but she didn't take her hat off anymore. You never saw her without her hat.
I imagine she just looked older.
No, I was turning into a beholder.
Yeah, I didn't get. That's something I wanted to do more with this campaign, but I didn't. I kept forgetting. So when you're in Barovia, when you're in the Shadowfell, your spells are your aesthetic spells are slightly corrupted, and when you accept dark powers, your character also slightly gets creepier or aesthetically displeasing. So at the beginning, I had Maeve and her familiar. Her familiar, the cat, started like very slowly. I don't know if anyone noticed. It started
It was
getting
like
more and more
turning
corrupt.
demonic, right?
Yeah, her dark
more
power
dragony?
was a demon or a devil, and so like I wanted to go more towards that, and her mage hand, but she was a rogue, so that mage hand is invisible, so I couldn't really describe it. The arcane eye, while you were in the castle, I described as like super gross. Normally it would just be invisible, but I wanted to like have some sort of corruption go into
Yeah.
Hazel.
It's all veiny.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hazel was doing steroids.
it was gross. Well, yeah, I knew it was because I was essentially turning into a beholder. I had little eye stalks coming out of my head.
Oh yeah, there's Maeve. Oh yeah, and Maeve was like a tiefling, right? But we didn't know that.
No.
Dark elf?
No,
No,
she was a tiefling.
Oh.
She had horns and I don't know if she had a tail, but we never like saw any horns or anything.
Oh.
Kay was a dark elf, and if she had survived, I would have had her, like, have a connection with the elves in the Vistani camp.
Yeah, I mean, Kay
Because-
wasn't a dark elf, but she was an elf. Yeah, like a snow elf or mountainous elf. But
The dark elves in the Vistani camp were, basically sterile. Like, not
Yeah.
sterile because they couldn't produce, but sterile because all the women were
had no
killed,
women. Yeah, all the
Yeah.
women were killed.
and the
And
children
Kay,
killed.
being an elven female, I'm curious how that would have.
Very alluring.
She would have been scared. Just like, no.
Go away.
Oh God, no! Oh, Fen, look at him before corruption
I know.
and then after corruption.
Got all even scarier looking.
Yeah, it definitely got more undead.
Mm-hmm.
Decayed a little bit more.
We couldn't have, probably couldn't have successfully, got away in town with him anymore. We were able to do that for a little while.
Yeah. I also like how much money we had.
Yeah.
We couldn't do shit with it.
We couldn't spend anything.
I'm just gonna give it to my minions and that'll make them happy. And they'll be like, all right. Woo! After this, let's all go to the winery. And we never returned that other stone to the winery. And...
We had it though, didn't we? We did get it.
Yeah.
Yes. There were a few things I changed about the game. I have a list of things. It'd be more structured instead of jumping around, talking about stuff. So I'm gonna start by talking about the church in Barovia that had the screaming in the basement.
Okay.
So that it wasn't anything hugely important. It was just something that happened. It was the son of the pastor or the priest. He kept his son in the basement, and his son is starving because he was a vampire spawn after going to the castle and trying to raid it. And he was screaming for food because he was starving, but the priest didn't want to feed him because you'd have to kill somebody to do that. And so it was just like him suffering to hear his son starving, but not being able to do anything about it.
So if we had tried to help that kid, we would have been stuck in the, well, how are you going to feed him? We would have, if we had tried to help him, right? We would have had that moral dilemma.
I think it would have been like, yeah, do we kill him off?
Yeah, do you kill him or do you kill somebody else, or do you yourself die?
Like, did we self-sacrifice? I feel like that would have been a difficult situation. I love how we just kind of like, good luck with that.
And off we go.
Anyways, we'll deal with that later. There were so many things in Barovia that we were like, we'll deal with that later. And that was like the one place that had a shop too, like an actual stuff shop.
Yeah.
Well, it was the one place that you looked for a shop. Like, there was the blacksmith in Vallaki that Kay
went to,
but that was it.
Like a silver knife, and like she died. She never got to retrieve it.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I was like, remember my knife? I had a delivery. I had a thing that I custom made at the blacksmith in Vallaki, and she died. And couldn't get that out because everyone else was passed out when she died.
We're all asleep.
Yeah.
Ooh, frustrating.
Another thing I kind of changed things with Gertruda. She was from Barovia town. So this just adds extra creepiness to Strahd, but she's like a 16-year-old girl who has never seen the outside world, and Strahd sort of picks her up and like takes her to his castle, and she just like admires him because she's never known anything outside of home. And so it's just like super creepy that he's really into her and like going to make her his bride. And I changed that because she is like all over him in the actual campaign. I kind of changed that she was just like a girl in his castle. He didn't really, my Strahd didn't really interact with her much. He just kind of tolerated her. But the original would just like be all over her all the time.
Super creepy.
Yeah. Sort of a freaking Edward from Twilight scenario.
Gross.
Yeah.
How old are you? 16. How long have you been 16? For centuries. Oh, wow.
That's cool.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
I'm a bit surprised Because, like, was there supposed to be a quest in Barovia where Hazel interacted with Gertruda's mother that, like, oh, retrieve my daughter?
Well,
Was that a thing that was supposed to be done?
It just informs you that Gertruda will be with Strahd, and she's not supposed to be there. So if you hadn't seen her mother or talked to her mother, you would have just assumed that, oh, this other girl has been here. How long has she been here? Like, is she his daughter? Like, did he adopt her, or like, what's going on? But you finding out that her mother is in Barovia wanting her back adds that sense of she doesn't belong.
Yeah.
And
She's
it gave a little bit more
groupie.
backstory to her character. There wasn't much else in Barovia that was...
Ismark, right? Ismark was
Oh,
Irina's
yeah.
brother.
So,
Were we supposed to do anything with him? Because
No.
I feel like we left him.
sometimes
but
he's the fated ally, and so he joins the party. But
Okay.
he's just kind of forgotten in Barovia to be the burgomaster. The death of the father is really vague. Like, you show up to the house and he's already dead, and there's no explanation of why. So I added the fact that, like, werewolves were trying to get in and slashed it and killed it. And it was infected.
Ah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because we were hired by him.
Yeah.
Because they were getting attacked by wolves, and we stayed the entire night as guards, and there was no wolves.
Yeah, you
So
were
we're
hired by
kinda going like,
Ismark
Yeah.
because the father was already dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there was no wolves. Was there supposed to be wolves?
No. So,
Okay.
because the werewolves are controlled by Strahd, he sent them to kill the father, so Ismark was concerned for his sister, but Irina is not in danger, because Strahd controls the werewolves, and there should be no harm that comes to her.
Oh.
So that's why there were no wolves that night.
How did Strahd already know about Irina?
He's been following her for a while. Like, so she's probably like in her 20s, and he just goes around visiting the towns just because he can, and he happened to see this woman who looks a lot like Tatiana, and so he's like, I've seen incarnations of her before, this must be the new incarnation. Because she's been dead for 400 years and her soul never leaves. Her soul constantly inhabits a new body.
And he's never been able to get with the soul, with the inhabitant of the soul. So how many like Irinas? Like, was there a chance we could learn about other Irinas, or?
There isn't really. It's kind of up to the DM. There isn't really any specific thing in the book talking about that. It's not every 20 years, because sometimes the soul doesn't find a body to inhabit in a certain amount of time. So it could be like between 100 and 200 times that there's been a new Tatiana somewhere. And he's always searching, because this is him. He wants her. That is the curse of Strahd. That is his curse. He is never allowed to be with her.
Oh.
If he had if he at the wedding, if he had bitten her to immortalize her, it would have just killed her, because his patron, so to speak, the dark power that controls him, does not allow him to ever have Tatiana. Because if he had Tatiana, he would no longer rule Barovia, and that is what the dark power wants. It wants the land.
Yeah, that's a dick move. Like, I guess that's what happens if you take the dark powers. Then is like you're cursed. Essentially, there's like a real big price to pay, in that the thing that you want the most you don't get.
the dark powers, you could have totally rejected them. I gave everyone a final choice. Like, do you accept this power? It's always about choice, and you are allowed to say no. If you say no, you lose all gifts from before. The lethargy thing I added in later. We'll talk about that in a bit. You wouldn't lose that lethargy. The -1 to all stats. You wouldn't have any dark powers, and you wouldn't gain that final ability. But once you defeat Strahd, you are free to leave Barovia. You are free to leave the Shadowfell.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if you don't take if you don't take the dark gifts, you reject all the stuff, and you don't take on that extra power. I guess it's supposed to be like you withheld your integrity, right? And you are rewarded by being able to leave in freedom.
You can take
allowed to leave.
We'll talk about that when Victor. We'll talk about Victor.
Okay.
So you can accept dark gifts throughout the campaign until the Amber Temple, and then reject it at the end, and still are able to leave. But that final gift is what determines if you are able to leave Barovia. Because it's just like the dark powers want you here. You are in Shadowfell. That Shadowfell is a dimension. It's a plane of existence that is outside the normal material plane of D&D. And it is constructed of different demi-planes, like little pockets, dimensions that various dark powers control, and they are constantly fighting for control of these areas. Ravenloft is one of them. So Ravenloft is essentially Barovia, and that's why the dark powers say, I will give you this gift, you will become my champion, and you will take the throne. Once you take the throne, you take Ravenloft for that dark power. And if you take the gift and don't take the throne, you are forever in this area fighting for the dark power in another place of Shadowfell. So you are constantly trying to take one of the areas so that one of the dark powers can rule. So if you don't take that, you are free. You are not in control of... you're not controlled by dark power.
Interesting.
And you didn't really need it. The Great Mother or the Talos gift that I gave Oz and Hazel was never used in the final fight.
Fen used the shit out of his
Yes, yeah, his gifts were very strong.
Definitely.
Which one was the one? Which gift did Hazel have that would have been used? To the Talos gift or whatever?
You had a shapeshift where you could turn into any fae or fiend of your choice of your level or lower for a minute to a 10%. So yeah, if you could have turned into a hag or a fae creature for a certain amount of time and gain their abilities.
I totally forgot about that.
Did that use up spell slots?
No, it was like a shapeshift for druids.
Cool.
And then Oz had he could call upon the storm and do extra damage, move, fly, have his spells do a little bit of extra lightning damage, and then whenever people hit him, he'd do damage to them.
Was that just the players just not writing that stuff down? Because I know I had to
I had mine written
manually
down, but
write my stuff
I had
in my
so
sheet.
much. I have to look at my sheet again.
I sent everything to everyone in Discord.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a big deal. Like, you defeated Strahd. I think Strahd should have buffed up Strahd a little bit more.
I think it was fine because we worked hard to make it so that we could kill him.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
we
but
did all the things that
he
we
took
needed
down
to
like
do.
2 people.
I think that's fine though. Like, I don't
Okay.
think the big bad has to be all powerful. I think if the players put in the time, because I've like after we finished last night, I went on to Reddit to see what other people did because I was curious. It's like, what do other people do? And I read so many stories of people like parties that were level 6 taking on Strahd. And I was like, oh my god, like we were level 8 and we still couldn't defeat the windmill. How are these people? And they would like defeat him. And it was hard, but they had great strategy and were able to do it. So I feel like I think it was fine that we were able to defeat Strahd so easily because we made sure to try and level up and to get all of the things. Like, I'm sure there's people who don't get the Sun Sword or don't get the Ravenkind amulet.
I think your biggest strength was your saving throws, especially Wisdom, because Wisdom is the most used saving throw in anything. And so if you have high Wisdom, it's just so hard to do anything.
Yeah. But yeah, having 2 paladins, I think, also helped.
Yes, 2 paladins and a cleric. All of them can deal with undead.
Wow.
So yeah, I wasn't disappointed by fighting Strahd. I wasn't disappointed with fighting for the throne thing, that fight with the throne thing either.
I hoped it wasn't too much. When I started the campaign, I created Hume because I had read the entire campaign and I knew what was going to happen at the end. I had created Hume to be the one to take over Barovia, if no one else wanted it, or if somebody else wanted it, he would literally fight them for it, because he is lawful evil.
I had no idea.
He was going through the entire campaign, vengeance. He wanted to kill everything. He wanted power and authority and that kind of thing. But he was like following his code of conduct, and like he would talk about like, is this what constitutes as lawful for the land of Barovia? Like, this is what the law is here, so therefore I can do what I want. Yeah, so he was kind of a secondary final boss. I didn't really design him specifically for what he did. I just like picked a bunch of spells, and Oathbreaker was a good evil paladin thing. And it just happened how it happened. Yeah. I think that struggle was good with between players.
I guess if we can talk about our characters, and the backstory of the thought process behind them. For Hume, he wasn't like, it's not, I guess, do other DMs who do Curse of Strahd, do they also have like an NPC to kind of help with that strife, with those decisions? Because I do remember, like, you know, Hume kind of offering different choices in some stuff. Like, I can't remember one. I remember there was something with like the abbot of like taking his deal or something like that.
Seeing the abbot's point of view of this is one way to defeat Strahd. This is, if we just give him what he wants, then he will be fine. He will be done, and we don't have to. More people won't have to die.
So, like, I guess, do other DMs, like, who run Curse of Strahd, do they also have, like, an NPC that they play that is like that?
Yes. Sometimes it's Isaac, or not Isaac, Ismark, who will accompany the party. Sometimes it's Irina, but she has a different input. it's always recommended for the DM to not have their PC in the game, just because it takes away from the players. But as long as the DM isn't in control of taking all the stuff, taking the loot, controlling like where you go, solving the puzzles. It's about the players. It's not about the DM.
Yes.
But I made Hume because when I read it, I wanted to play my own. I wanted to play through this game, and I wanted to join you. And I figured if I didn't interfere too much with your actions or your choices or spoiling anything, it would have been fine.
Okay. Well, so character building, entering Barovia, like I had Kay, who was, I think she was lawful good. She was very strong to her morals, and like I think that's why she died too, because I remember interacting with when the witch killed her, then there was the voice of the thing that was like, look, you don't have to die, like do me some stuff and I'll save you. And she was like, go to hell, fuck you, you're the devil, you're Fenris. And she was like, I'll never take your gifts. Said some stuff in Elfish, like and she died, and I remember feeling like, man, I know this is what Kay would have done, but part of me just wishes like I could have played her more. Is there a chance for a person who makes a good player, like a good aligned PC, to survive this campaign?
Oh yeah. I mean, what, Oz and Hazel are good, right? Although they were unsure about the dark arts.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, a benefit to me. I don't know what will end up, but they are essentially good.
I knew I was compromising. I mean, I already felt pretty compromised as it was. So yeah, I knew I was definitely compromising. And that it might have been a fatal compromise too.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
The thing about Kay's death was it was a situation where you couldn't have prevented it other than accepting the dark gift, because you were in a very bad position. If it would have been like if Kay had gone down, failed 3 death saves, and then someone came up and like, or you taken her body to the abbot, you would have resurrected her that way. Or if like somebody had been able to heal her before she got that final death save. You were just in a situation that was, if you went down, it basically wasn't possible to stay alive.
It was because the witch had cast sleep, right?
Yeah.
And the rest of the party fell asleep.
Mm-hmm.
But Kay succeeded her save and did not fall asleep.
I thought Kay was like immune to sleep charms. That's what.
Oh, that might be the case, because I think there was an elven trait.
Yeah.
So it was like, damn, that sucks.
Yeah.
And then the hags,
thinking, like, oh yeah, they tried to negotiate with.
Yeah, they said,
Kay.
if you do this for us, we won't kill you. And she said, fuck you.
Yeah, she was like, fuck you, go to hell. May the Dreadwolf take you. And so yeah, but I kept thinking, like, man, if Kay had fallen asleep, and somebody else would have had to make that decision, and Kay maybe would have survived. But then I was like, oh no, yeah, it was an elven trait that saved her. And I'm curious if what Hazel would have decided if she had to be the one in that decision.
Right.
Because the rest of the group was passed out, and if it was Hazel or Maeve who were having to negotiate with the witches. They're like, look, bring us children and we'll let you live. Like, would you guys have taken the deal?
Probably not.
Oh.
I would have gone, what would Maeve want?
Yeah,
Right?
what would Maeve have done?
Maeve would
I'm
have
curious.
been pissed, I think. If you know.
She was, I think, because she had played the beginning of the campaign before, she knew about the pastries, and so at the start, when she was offered them right away, she said, "No, I'm not going to take them." And so I think that influenced, like, she knows what these things are made of, and she doesn't want to participate in it at all. So I think she would have refused as well.
Oh. So it feels like no matter what, a character, a PC was going to die. No matter who it was. Maybe Hume, if Hume survived.
Hume would have
the negotiations.
would have accepted it because he is
he would have been
evil.
like, yeah, okay, whatever, man.
Whatever
Let's
it
do it.
takes for me to stay alive.
Yeah.
Some people say that you shouldn't be able to play an evil character in this campaign because you need the motivation to defeat Strahd. But the motivation for an evil person to defeat Strahd is to gain power over the land, accept these dark gifts, and defeat him so that you may rule under your hand and be evil. And a lot of people think that you can't play an evil character because you have to do the righteous thing. But I feel like you can. It's fine.
So with Hazel, what came into your thought process of designing Hazel and fitting Hazel into this kind of, gothic horror campaign?
I wanted to play a wizard, but this gothic horror, I just thought, well, what's in there? Well, I was thinking of the standard monsters, right? And so I thought, well, she's just a sweet little old lady. I just wanted her to be unassuming. I did not want her to look like what she was. So I wanted her to be just this little old lady, and she just happens to be a wizard, but she's always taken as a witch. So that helped me with the backstory of her, and that she's just misunderstood.
I really don't know why I'm here, and I'm not a witch.
Well, I'm not a witch. I don't know why they're calling for me to do
They
this.
keep calling me a witch, and I hear this place accepts witches.
Yeah, I have a pointy hat. I have the little broom.
Yeah.
They're practical. These are practical items. Why would I not want these? Yes.
I remember when we got to see everyone's character, and I was like, oh man, this is kind of cool. Like, because Maeve was, I think, her character was a little older, right?
I think she was an elf or something, so.
Well,
yeah.
she was a tiefling.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
so she was like half demon kind of thing.
I'm pretty sure Hazel was the youngest of
Really?
everyone at the start.
Because
Yeah.
I was human.
Because Kay was an elf who'd been alive for hundreds of years. Maeve was a tiefling who'd been alive for like a century, and then
Yeah.
Hazel was under a century, but also looked the oldest.
Yeah, that's what I remember laughing about, was like, because the three sisters, there's always the maiden, the mother, and the crone.
Mm-hmm. The
And I was
one.
like, Kay is the crone, Maeve is the mother, and she had a pet, so she was the mother, and Hazel's the maiden. But we don't look
That's
like
a really
that.
good analogy. I like that.
Oh my
That's
god.
what I kept thinking about when we had all introduced our characters and stuff. And so I just thought it was hilarious to make Kay, who is the oldest out of all of them, just give Hazel a bad time. Like, you okay there, old lady? You're going to die. Like, did you die? Are you alive? Oh, sorry, you were just sleeping? Oh, okay. Gotta make sure. I thought it was so funny.
Oh,
Like
God.
that character interaction with the three of us.
Yeah.
And then we lost Maeve. Then we had what was his name? He only played for one session.
Oh, yeah.
The dwarf fellow. The dwarf. He was a
Oh,
paladin?
yeah. One, that's
remember.
right. One session.
Can't remember his name, but he helped a lot. He was really useful.
Well, he knew what he was doing. He'd played the game before.
It just helped that he
Briefly,
was like,
he wasn't. He didn't
Yeah.
finish it.
he didn't finish. He only played one session, but like, I remember how helpful it was just like having him like, we just had this special guest who really helped us in a tight situation because Hazel had been arrested.
Oh, that's right.
And he was like friends with the Burgermaster and rolled some excellent rolls because we had terrible rolls
Mhm.
throughout the campaign. Like,
Yeah.
Then we had Ren.
Mhm.
Ren was
that was the other
interesting.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he was the tiefling that we knew was a tiefling.
Yeah.
And he was like very cheerful in this dark environment.
Yeah.
And very jokester like, and it was like, you don't belong here, sir. You are way too happy. And then there was Fen. But we all know about Fen and his whole thing.
Yeah.
And then Oz. Like, what Milo went into bringing Oz into this campaign. Like, what were your thoughts behind Oz? And like, why did you choose, Oz?
Milo, are you here?
Why not?
Good point.
I mean, I didn't know. I didn't plan on any of this. I was just exploring this cave and got sent here.
Mhm.
What made you choose Tempest?
Yeah.
What made me choose what?
The Tempest cleric.
It sounded like great powers. I just really liked the whole lightning and thunder thing.
Well, they came with great responsibility.
Uh,
What I liked, I don't know if it's because the campaign is versatile, but I liked how each of our characters, even the ones that came and left, follow an aspect of the Curse of Strahd. So we start with Kay. She is the stars. She's all about astral stuff, and it follows in this campaign because no one has ever seen the stars because it's always overcast, and the whole mystery behind where did things go, and she was drawn to this place. And then with Maeve, she was. We didn't really go into it, but she was Vistani, and her ancestors were the Vistani.
Oh,
that's
I
right.
remember
But they were
she
like-
was like, I might have family here. So it was like, oh, that's cool.
Her family broke off from the Vistani in Barovia and followed a devil and made a pact. That's why she's a tiefling instead of human.
Oh.
And she was returning to discover her past and discover her people. And so her aspect was the Vistani. I guess that's kind of planned, so it wasn't a coincidence. But her pact was a demon, there's a difference between demons and devils. Her pact was with a devil, which is what people call Strahd. He is the devil. Instead of saying his name and alerting him of what they're talking about, he is the devil of this land. And her pacts were with devils. And so that fit in well with the campaign.
She was the first to accept a dark gift.
Yes, she in the death house, she was about to die. Like, she would have died if she didn't accept this. It would have been the first death.
Oh, that's why she didn't. I remember that.
Yeah, because she came back to life and had full health and everything. It was
And
like,
we're all like, what the?
It was-
right.
It was also like a tantalizing thing, like, ooh, you could have this too if you accept the dark powers. Like, for the rest of the players, you could have extra things you could do. Don't you want this?
Yeah, I think we made the joke of like everybody gets one.
That's what happened.
Yeah, but she didn't really talk about it. But like, what was her sponsor? What was her the creature, the evil thing that was reaching out to her? What was it? It was a demon or a devil?
It was a devil. I have it written down. It is Belial, one of the devil lords. And
Oh, cool.
she would have gotten spells, and then her great aspects would her familiar, the cat, would have become different versions of devils, and with each gift she accepts, it would have been upgraded, like an evolution, a Pokemon evolution. Eventually becoming like a CR9 creature that would be her familiar, which would be incredibly strong. But she told me that if she continued playing, that she would have accepted this gift and she enjoyed it. She liked what it was.
Nice.
Wow.
What was Kay's potential? Like, who was reaching out to Kay? I originally thought it was Strahd, and I was like, "Fuck you! I'll never side with you."
It
Because
was.
I feel like the thing was like, "Hey, you seem cool. You're interesting. I like you. Like, I can make this so you don't die if you promise to come to me." And I was like, "No."
It was. So there are two goddesses of the night, one good, one evil. It was the evil one. I don't remember the name of it.
Nemora?
Saloon is the good
Saloon
one.
is the good, yeah, and that's who Kay worshipped.
Yes.
Was
So
Saloon.
I don't remember the evil one, but that was the one that was reaching out, and she would have given her like enhanced dark sight. It would have been like true sight to like 20 feet. So you would have been able to see shapeshifters and whatnot, and invisible. And then like different aspects of darkness, of enhancing star abilities, that
Oh, neat.
and then Hume was, I kind of designed him around this, but I had made this character a long time ago. I had made his name would be Idun Farash, and I had made a Azamar paladin that was evil, lawful evil, and I had created this character, and so I took that idea, put him into this game. But he was Shadow, and so his powers revolved around darkness,
Oh.
which is what benefits, which is always in Barovia. It's either dark or dim light. So he could teleport in shadows, he could become shadows, he could reach out and stuff. And then Oz, actually, yeah, we'll go with Oz. He chose Tempest Cleric, and that's part of what Strahd can control is weather.
Yeah, the weather to make
And
it all
so,
rainy and shit.
Like striking down in a bolt of lightning,
I
showing
noticed there
up
was an
and
awful lot of lightning going around.
yeah, he was aspect of weather, which was an aspect of this campaign. And then Serendipity, or Ren, he was essentially like strife and fury. His patron was a demoness that was all about hating, and because he was a barbarian, so I took the rage aspect.
Oh.
And I gave him the ability to cast spells and hold on to spells while raging.
He was a barbarian? I
He was
thought
a barbarian.
monk.
He was a barbarian monk. He was multi-classed.
Oh, he multi-classed.
Yeah. So,
Pretty cool.
So yeah, like, he was accepting these things, and it was very like BDSM style, but it was all about pain and strife and fury. Yeah.
Wow.
So, one of my questions to you is, how did you feel about the dark powers at first?
Well, Kay obviously was against it. Didn't trust anything. That I guess if it had come out saying like, "I'm Saloon, your god, you're Saluna, your goddess, I'm going to save you," and so you can bring the night sky. Like, if they had deceived me, I probably would have taken it. Kay would have been like seen it as a blessing because it was something that was portraying like her goddess. But it didn't come across like that. It sounded more like, this is I thought it was Strahd reaching out and be like, join me, betray your fellow people. So I was like, no. But Fen accepted it wholeheartedly. He was like, yeah, like, undead are cool. I'm undead, you're undead, you want me to raise more undead, I can do that. Fen was very accepting, I think, the entire time, and saw Vecna as like a friend.
Before Stranger Things came out, did you have any idea who Vecna was?
No. And
Good.
I was like, yeah, Vecna seems cool. Seems like a nice guy. And then I saw Stranger Things, and I remember watching Stranger Things like, I'm starting to think Vecna might not be a good guy.
Just
I
maybe.
I gotta talk to Alex a little bit. Like,
I
hold
was-
on now.
We were in the middle of Strahd, and I had picked Vecna as your patron, and I was like, okay, this is good because Fen is a revenant and like undead and all that, and that's what Vecna's about. And then Stranger Things came out, and I was so disappointed. Like, oh my fucking. But the worst part was Vecna in Stranger Things is not how he is in D&D.
No, because he's a lich,
so different.
right? He's like
Yeah. He was a wizard, and then he sought lichdom, and died and gained lichdom. And in Stranger Things, he controls telepathy and people's nightmares and that kind of thing, and that's not what he does in the D&D world.
I mean, Stranger Things tends to do that with a lot of the creatures.
Yeah,
Like, none of the creatures, like the Demogorgon.
The Demogorgon is not what it was in Stranger Things. If you knew what it was, you'd be much more frightened of it.
Yeah.
So you thought he was cool. How did Fen feel about Vecna in the end?
I think Ben got caught up in being surrounded by members of the Silver Order and by Argynvost. And I think Fen forgot his deal, his promise to Vecna. And I think Fen he got wrapped up in being surrounded by his fallen comrades, helping fight this great evil again, and the silver dragon flying around, and was like, yeah, I'm here as a member of the Silver Order. That's where Fen, that's what like kind of his final thoughts were, and of like, for vengeance, essentially, was what Fen was about in the final end. And that's why instead of like for Vecna, he screamed out when he did like the final blow, he said for Argynvost.
Oh.
Like, Fen.
I bet Vecna was pissed.
I'm sure.
Oh yeah,
sure.
When Fen killed himself at the very end, Vecna's like, I'm not done with you.
Yeah, it's like, God,
you're not
damn
gonna
it.
die on me.
Yeah, I invested too much time and money on you for you to just throw like yourself away like this. As honorable as you try, like, you have no honor. But that, like, so Fen tried to go out with as much honor as he could as a member of the Order. And I remember, like, I said the thing of like, here's to becoming monsters to defeat monsters, to get Richten.
Right.
But now that he is essentially risen again by Vecna, I'm sure Fen has, because he was neutral. And part of the thing of the Vecna gift, the Vecna hand, was that it changes your alignment to evil.
Oh, shit.
And I feel like with Fen and this third rebirth, as it were, I feel like Fen is truly evil now. He is probably lawful evil. where he killed the Fen that sought out his vengeance and got his vengeance for the Order of the Silver Dragon, for Argynvost, died, and now he is essentially re-risen as Vecna's lackey and is truly evil. So I think Fen, in the end, he tried to go out with honor as a member of the Silver Dragon, but I think he's now completely under control of Vecna.
Right.
So he probably has no thoughts about it. He's just kind of like, yeah, as you command, Lord.
Yeah. So Hazel, what did you think about the Great Mother at first?
Oh, I thought she was evil AF, man. Totally evil. I didn't care how sweet she talked. She sounded pretty evil.
Before you saw her? Like, when you first interacted with her as a voice in your head, what was your impression? You thought it was evil?
She was evil, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because when you saw her in the dream and her head was a beholder, I'm sure that made a big influence too.
I was pretty sure she was evil. Yep. And then, and then when, the sweetness and everything did not. No, I instantly thought she was evil. And thought, do I have to do this? Is this what I have to do? It just looked like there was no way out of it.
Can I see what she looked like? Can we see what the patrons looked like for everyone? I don't know if you want us to get in a roll 20 for that, or I'm curious what Thor looked like and what the Great Mother looked like, and
so this is the Great Mother. I did a bit of weird editing.
Yeah, right.
Because when I first had Hazel in the dream, the old woman was in a kitchen preparing some tea, and her back was turned to Hazel, and so she was talking to Hazel, being all normal, and then she turned around, and this is what she saw. I edited it where you could only see the head; it wasn't decapitated, but the hood over her head hid the eye stalks. So when she turned and she saw this is what she eventually saw.
Yeah.
And
lovely.
Then this is Ren's person. So all about pain and strife and fury and whatnot. And then this is Maeve's. Belial is the dude, and his daughter, Fierna, was also part of the team, but she was less.
Oh man, Thor looks okay. Oh yeah, she was just lovely.
This is Vecna.
This is Vecna.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this totally a lich. That's a lich right there.
I remember he was just hanging out in a graveyard, sitting on some tombstones or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't remember seeing the crown before.
Whoa.
But he just seemed like, another undead. And I was like, oh hey man, this your spot? Cool that I'm here.
I note that you too are undead.
Yeah.
Let us be undead together.
Yeah,
so,
let us be undead friends.
Oz's Dark Patron is different because he never attempted to contact his god, his deity. So I didn't have any way of getting to him until the Amber Temple. So we'll say, Oz, how did you feel about dark power at first?
How did I feel about what?
Dark power.
Your person's dark power.
I don't understand. What dark power?
that you are your person was deceived quite a bit. You believed you were following Thor. You believed that Thor was giving you these gifts, But
Yeah.
this person never mentioned their name, and you never asked them their name. So you constantly believed that Thor was the person giving you these gifts. But it was
Well,
actually
yeah.
it was Talos. Talos is a god of
An evil god.
storms.
Well, who the F is that?
That's the guy who was giving you all your powers. And in the end, he didn't let you leave Barovia. You were constantly teleporting between the Shadowfell realms, and that's why I made the reference to
Right. Got it. Yeah.
Quantum Leap, because you
Yeah.
you hope that the next time you teleport, it'll be the last one. But so I guess your first impression with him was you thought he was totally cool, and in the end, I mean, Thor makes mistakes. He must be having issues getting you home.
Look, Thor's busy drinking all the time. This checks out.
He's partying.
Yeah. He's obviously not like, completely there to be able to dial in, so he just keeps jumping.
When I
Well,
describe, go
You
ahead.
can be the god of storm and yet be somewhat inaccurate.
That is
Not-
true.
not
Yeah.
the best aim. It happens.
When I
Yeah.
described him when you met him in the Amber Temple, I described him as you were in the clouds. This very muscular, godlike figure is enshrouded in lightning and clouds.
Oh yeah, I think
And
that was
he
Thor.
was, yeah, you thought he was Thor. You didn't ask him. You didn't ever try to contact him outside the Amber Temple.
Oh, okay. Well, let me ask you something. If you went and oh wow, I'm encountering God. Are you gonna ask him for ID?
Yes.
Well, considering how many gods are in
Asking for
the
his
D&D
bona
world, it's a bit more like
Maybe Oz comes from a secular world. Like in Oz's world, there is but one god.
possibly Thor is the only one. I'm not saying
Well,
it's a
there's
bad
lots of
thing.
gods. They're just all shy.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing that you believe that Talos was Thor. But you were greatly deceived.
All right.
So
Sounds like
how?
Oz is fine with it.
Yeah, he's feels like Thor is being a bit weird, different than he normally is, but so let's say what is your favorite moment with your character, and then what is your favorite moment with someone else's character? So we'll start with Ben again.
Ben's favorite moment was
With himself, and then it doesn't have to involve
Oh.
himself. Like, what is your favorite moment with your character, and what is your favorite moment with somebody else's character?
I feel like Fenn's favorite, like my favorite moment with Fenn was stealing, doing the breaking and entering into Strahd's castle to take the heart. That was my favorite with
Yeah,
Fenn.
that was fun.
Of like, look, there's something going on in town. Now we strike. Look, guys, I got a plan. I've been stewing on it for a while. Here's what we're gonna do. Because again, like his whole thing is vengeance, and
Yeah.
like for the Order of the Silver Dragon, and like if I can bring back the Silver Dragon, Ben's gonna do it because that's gonna help with his vengeance. Because he's basically taking on like, I'm getting vengeance for the Order of the Silver Dragon, so anything I can do to screw over Strahd and help the Order, Ben's gonna do. And that was my favorite moment of just doing that crazy just heist.
Yeah. The heist.
Yeah. And there
That was
was
fun.
very little plan. It was just run through the front doors, run, go, go, go.
Run,
Yeah.
run.
There was like, you find dragons and gargoyles in your path, and you're like, I don't care. I keep
No,
going.
don't have
I'm
time for
running.
this. Run.
Run, run, run.
I was like, oh, okay.
I know where we gotta go. I think this is it. like, I made careful notes of this.
I like that too. Like sometimes you gotta gotta play D&D outside the box.
Yeah. I also liked Fenn's moments with Mordenkainen. We didn't record it, but that was some of the best like tomfoolery ever.
Sweet.
And
Like,
glad you
most
enjoyed
the
it.
rest of us missed it. We
You
didn't.
missed it.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a different session since Fen was the only person
Yeah.
available. But what is your favorite moment with somebody else's character?
I think my favorite moment with somebody else's character is freaking Hazel not remembering Irina's like the player's like the Irina's name.
Hey,
I loved the beginning.
there was a lot
when
of
she
names.
when she found the letter and was trying to read it and was like, "What does this say?"
I had to scroll down. I could not
Yeah.
tell.
And it was like, "Wow, best role playing ever!" Freaking
I
give
really
give her an Emmy for this
That's
role
the
play.
worst. I tell you, this is the worst handwriting I've ever seen.
Hold on, I don't have my glasses. Let me-
No, literally, I had to go get my glasses. I was trying to figure out what it said.
That was
Oh,
one of the
God.
best moments. And then yeah,
That
just
was like one of the
Hazel-
very, very first times too.
Yeah, it was the first session.
Yeah, that was so good. And then Hazel never remembering Irina. It was always something different that she
Hey,
called.
Lena.
All right, Eilina. All right, Leanna. All right, Lena.
I couldn't remember your name, Althea, and I only had the one
Ariana.
kid.
And then the next best thing that I liked was again Hazel, and it was Hazel never remembering Kay and like Kay's death and stuff.
Oh, I
Um,
remembered it. It was just painful.
And
I
be
couldn't
like,
remember what she was called. That was
and then that whole interaction of like, you're still alive, of course you are. And Hazel be like, I don't know who you are. And that was a great moment. And I was like, yeah, Kay would be pissed. I would just piss Kay off more, just like, ah!
you don't remember me.
That Thanos moment of like the
You've just-
Scarlet Witch.
Yeah,
Like you've
taken everything from me. I don't know
And-
who you are.
I don't know who you are. Who are you?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like that. It was kind of like that.
So Hazel, what was your favorite moment with your character? What was your favorite moment with somebody else's character?
I had a lot of, well, I guess it's just recent memory. I laughed so hard. Just the image of Oz floating above. We're all down in the water and it's absolute chaos. And Oz is just quietly floating above us. Boop, 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 trying to figure out how to propel himself across. And of course, I kept thinking of the little motorboat, I'm thinking of going
Yeah, just-
across the ceiling.
I just pushed off the wall.
Yeah, sure you did. Anyway,
Like there's
That's
just this
I couldn't. Every time I thought of it, it just cracked me up.
like there's just this floating dwarf having a good time up above us.
yeah.
Every now and then dropping a thunderstrike, or what do you say, thunderstruck?
Thunderstruck. Yeah, which was brilliant, and I loved it. And yeah, all that was good. I had fun with that. I liked. It was hard because we never knew if we were doing right or wrong or what, and that was extremely difficult. So trying to just be a good witch was very difficult. And never knew if I was doing anything right or the right thing at all. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was hard. But we kind of got through it, I think.
Was there anything that you liked, like as playing as Hazel?
Playing as Hazel.
Yeah,
Well,
like a memorable moment you did
When I
as
rem-
Hazel.
when I remembered stuff, because there was so much, all the different. Then I when I realized I could take a feat, Oh, I can do this. I can take a feat because I hadn't realized that other tab was there that whole time. And I said, oh, all these times I leveled up and I just added, a point instead of looking at feats to take. But feats are hard because you got to remember them. You got to scroll through all the things you have and try to remember in every situation what you can say for. Like when I did damage on our last fight, I realized back that, oh, I never added the extra 3 points to any of those damage rolls for those evocation spells. And it didn't matter, but yeah, those kind of things I would just, it was hard to remember everything.
Yeah.
Being right about the Sun Sword, that felt pretty good.
Yeah, that was a good moment as Hazel.
Yeah, Hazel she was like, did anyone notice that I was right? Does anybody want to remember that one when I was correct? Anybody at all? Yeah.
I loved how scared Hazel was for it, but I was like, I think this is it, guys.
You guys are
and
gonna
we're like, no, you're crazy.
Yeah, really? You guys are gonna let the weakest member of the party just walk into the giant golem place. Okay, here I go, and but you're gonna come help me, right? You're gonna come help if
I'll
he
come.
attacks me.
We'll be right there.
Yeah.
Look, I can cast cure wounds from 160 feet away, so it's fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I was doubtful that I was gonna be fine.
But yeah, that was a great Hazel moment because we probably never would have found it otherwise.
No, I know, and it's just like real life. Nobody listens to me, so it doesn't matter. I can say all the smart things I want, but if nobody wants to hear what you have to say, it doesn't matter. So yeah, but yeah, that was kind of fun, I thought. And yeah.
So, Oz, what was your favorite moment with your character and with someone else's?
Oh gosh, I don't know. You were talking about how I got fooled by that other god thinking he was Thor, but actually I think I was better off that way. You know what they say, as Oz would say, igneous is bliss.
Oh God.
Inspiration to you. Everyone else take a D4.
There was a time earlier on when I got an inspiration for using a geology pun, and that was a favorite moment. Yeah.
Yeah, the
I
puns.
can't remember which pun it might have been at the time, but
it was a bad one.
Yeah, the puns definitely increased with the joining of Oz in the group.
It was awful. Yes.
I think if I was asked, there was some stuff around, and I was asked whether that was sitting on sedimentary rock or not, and why? Well, if it's on shale, I'd like to buy it.
Jeez.
That's terrible.
It was something like that.
It was so
Cheat sheet of these, or
God.
Yeah, his brain.
had them written down.
Oh, wait a minute! I can use this one. Hold on, everybody.
Do you have a favorite moment with somebody else's character?
With someone else's character, it's the just trying to remember back.
I remember there was the stuff with the tower. There was stuff with the winery.
There was when we tried to deliver that wine.
Oh yeah.
And then they start all attacking us.
Yeah, what was that all about?
What the hell? Yeah, what was that about?
What did we do?
I mean, the Vistani are very angry people, and they like their wine. going to NPCs, who is your favorite NPC and who is your least favorite NPC, not including Strahd? So Fen, who is your favorite? Who is your least favorite?
I think my favorite was Leaf, because we talked to him for a good long while.
Almost killed him.
And yeah, and I was like, hey man, you're dead. Like, you're undead. And that,
Right.
like, it just, like, traumatizing him, and how he had found the puppet thing and left it with him. It's like, look, this thing will cheer you up.
Oh,
I
I
think-
forgot about that puppet thing. Yeah.
I think Leaf was my favorite, followed by Isaac. I liked Isaac. I wanted him to become part of our group, like an NPC to join our group.
Mm-hmm.
Ismark or Isaac?
Isaac.
Okay.
Isaac and Velaki.
Velaki.
He was super strong.
He was cool. Like, I liked him. He was a really interesting NPC because, like, he was obviously strong. He was obviously discriminated against because of his demon arm.
Mm-hmm.
And he had father issues.
Daddy issues, yeah.
And like how interested like he was and confused by Irina.
Mm-hmm.
He was an interesting character. He was like a really interesting character to me. So I liked him. My least favorite was
If you had explored the house more and gone into Isaac's room, I don't remember if you had it. I don't think
I
so.
think we had, because it was covered in dolls, right?
Oh yeah. They were just
Yeah.
various dolls that looked like Irene.
Yeah.
Super creepy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a little obsessive. But again, I thought he was interesting. He was a very unique NPC. But I think my least favorite was the abbot. I did not
That's
like
fair.
the abbot. I mean, yeah. But I was just like, man, this guy, difficult to deal with. Has all this power and is doing weird things to people and sees no issues with it. Like, thinks he's helping them. Like, yeah, I just remember disliking the abbot a lot. And I hated the witches in the windmill.
Okay, yeah.
You had a reason to hate the witches, I think.
Yeah.
Hazel, what's your most and least favorite NPCs?
Oh, Well, the little, the little guy up, the little, Leaf. He was interesting. I liked. I thought that what's the Von Richten was an interesting character, basically a vampire hunter kind of guy. And we finally got to meet him, looking for these people and then finally getting to meet him. Esmeralda was just unfinished to me. I just didn't get to, didn't get to know her at all. You want to like the people that helped you, but there really wasn't any help. Literally.
Right, yeah.
There was no one like that. So, and then, I would have liked to meet Mordenkainen, probably. That might have been an interesting character. Victor, I didn't quite know him. I think maybe it was hard to get to know. I didn't really get to know or feel like I knew, all of them. And there was nobody that was truly helpful. Oh, wasn't there? Wait a minute. I liked the character that we went to see who was the character, you guys, that we went to see who was a good person, and it wasn't. It was not the person that did the tarot reading. It was someone nearby, though. We went into a place. What was that? Remember that place we went where there was a actual helpful and kind person?
Can you describe the environment more?
It was,
Or
it
how
was
they
like,
helped you?
Well, they helped us. They just said they told us kind of what we needed, and that we needed the help, and that we were on our way. It was, it seemed like it was and the air was clearer around their area too. We kind of felt the dread lift off of us while we were with them. It was near the Vistani, or near the gypsy camp. And it was, I don't know if it was a tent similar to the gypsies or a house. Cozy little tent, I think. It was almost like it was a fortune teller area. Or maybe it was like a herbalist.
Was it the guy who gave you the ring?
I think... Wait a minute. That ring was evil, though, wasn't it?
No,
give me the ring of warmth.
The ring of warmth, yeah.
Yeah. That was it. That was the guy.
Okay.
Yeah. Who was that? Seemed to be a good person. That's all I'm saying.
That was... He wasn't a Vistani. He was one of the elves whose life had been destroyed because Vistani and the Strahd.
Oh, he was in like the Vistani camp, right? It was the guy whose sister was.
That was Casimir Belikov.
Yeah. So he was like an elf elder.
Yes. Do you have a least favorite NPC? Who isn't Strahd?
Who isn't Strahd? Strahd, you suck! You know, I switch. My favorite was the guy in the castle. What was his name? The boy toy.
Oh, Escher.
Escher. Yeah, he was my favorite character. I think I got a handle on what he was all about better than others.
But who is your least favorite?
My least favorite. Probably.
I feel like you did not like Isaac.
Or Baba Saga.
Oh yeah, or
Baba Saga. Baba Saga was just like her voice was the same as the mother, you know, and her voice and she was also the same as the witches that we hated. I didn't like the witches, but it's not like I don't dislike just because they were bad to me. You know what I mean? I tend to dislike because I just didn't get much out of them, kind of a thing.
Okay.
So, you know, it's not that they were bad. It's just I didn't get much out of them. So I would say an important character that I just didn't get much out of, that I didn't understand very well. I don't know. Probably the wives. I'll just say generically the wives of Strahd. I didn't quite figure them out. I didn't know what they were all about.
Well, so, the wives in the original campaign aren't really involved. They just show up, and then you don't see them. They show up at the dinner, and then you don't see them at all.
You never see them again.
They just hang out in their rooms. So I figured I should take aspects of Strahd and implement them into these three people.
Oh, so that's why each of them kind of had their own gig, their own little powers and stuff.
Yeah, and
I did
interact with.
I did like Anastasia because we interacted with her the most.
If there were a couple places you didn't go that you would have interacted with the other wives, but it's fine. Like, she was probably. I have like what I want their personalities to be. Anastrazia was the most down to earth, and she's just like the most relatable. She's just like a normal woman who came with these powers. Ludmilla was a slave, and treated horribly, and then given these powers, she abused them. And then Valenta was a noble, and just more power means more hatred towards the living. And she enslaves the undead. So yeah, these are things I gave them. They really don't have any other personality other than existing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's
so
fair.
I picked up on that. Yeah, I picked up on that. But I see. So I think that's interesting though that you gave them a little more than they had otherwise. You know.
Yeah, I wanted them to like you would know less about Strahd if you didn't interact with him outside.
Mm-hmm.
Oz, what is your favorite and least favorite NPCs?
Oz, are you there? Milo? Did he go outside? I think
we can come back to it.
Oh, he was asking who your favorite and least favorite NPCs were. I'm afraid I took long to answer. He's coming back.
Okay.
A favorite? I don't know. Maybe Esmeralda. I didn't get to know very many of them very well. Who was my least favorite? Baba Lysaga. or the Abbot. It's kind of.
The Abbot was really a lot of not a lot of help. Was he? Yeah.
I really didn't like either. He was just an asshole.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. He is like just he's just here and he's hardly interacting with people. He feels like he's doing the right thing, but he's really not doing anything at all.
Yeah, it's completely useless.
Yeah. If you could have interacted with him more if you hadn't taken the dark powers, and he could have removed your lycanthropy from you.
Could have, but would he have? You know what I mean?
For a deal, yeah. That's kind of his personality.
Oh.
What in this campaign was your biggest mind-blowing twist with either the story or characters? Just like you learn this thing and you think, what are you talking about? This is not at all what I expected.
I think it. What was I not expecting? Oh, I think God damn it! Let me try and remember his name. It's not Balaki. It's Irina's friend who turned out to be Strahd.
Oh yeah, that was a good
Vasily?
twist.
Yes, Vasily. There we go.
Something was up with that guy.
Yeah, because I remember we learned about stuff in the castle, and it was like, oh well, souls don't leave, so maybe Strahd's brother is his soul's still floating around here, and maybe it's Vasily. I remember we had that thought because Vasily was so he gave us gifts. He helped us get out of some situations. He traveled with us for a little bit. So that, and then you had Irina. It was like, Irina, Vasily's saying some weird stuff about you guys, and he's being a little weird and wanting me to go back to Balaki or to the Abbot, and how he had shown up at the Abbot, at the Abbey, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, where'd you come from, dude?
Yeah,
hold up.
That was when there was something weird going on, and that was when we started to be like, something's off. Maybe he made a deal, but I wasn't expecting him to turn into Strahd. And I remember that moment when we saw him do that. It was like, oh shit. Oh no.
Good.
I think that was a moment of like the unexpectedness.
So
Yeah.
with Vasily, I changed it where he wasn't actually Strahd. He was a simulacrum that Strahd creates to walk around and do his bidding. The original campaign has him have a different. He's like disguised himself as Strahd disguises himself as somebody else so that he can walk around without people reacting to him. And that was like interesting, but with the tarot cards, you only interact with Strahd in his tarot place. He is never the only time you see him is in that spot. So it has to be something else that you see Vasily turn into. And when you defeat a simulacrum, it turns into snow because it's created of water.
Oh.
So that's why there was always white powder whenever he was defeated.
Oh, that's what was on the stone in the cathedral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you thought when the thunder struck down and killed Vasily, he turned into white powder, and so you thought it was ash, which is totally acceptable. But somebody touched it and found it was cold and didn't really think anything of it. But yeah, Vasily is supposed to be the opposite of who Strahd is. So he's supposed to be kind, caring. He reaches out to you. He gives gifts, while also being Strahd himself with these. He's also timid and not charismatic. That's why he was stuttering and fumbling over his words. But he's also Strahd himself, who is scheming constantly, scheming these things that help him in the end. Yeah, that's Vasily, and I'm glad that was I hit it pretty well, even though he was kind of creepy at the Abbey.
Yeah, he was getting a little weird, but I just thought he made a deal. I thought maybe he had turned and became a thrall under Strahd. I still thought he was a person, a thing,
Sergei.
a human.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought he was Sergei at one point. Just not expecting him to be nope, I'm Strahd, bitch.
I think the book describes him, Vasily, as acting like Sergei. Because he was the exact opposite of Strahd.
Yeah.
So Hazel, what is your biggest mind-blowing moment in the game? Whether it's characters or plot. And it can be the same. You don't have to choose different.
Well, yeah, Vasily turning out to be Strahd was pretty cool. Oh, what made me go, whoa, fuck? Gee whiz.
There were a lot of moments. It could have been finding out that the pastries are made out of children.
Oh, I knew it was something like that. That was
could have been.
Yeah, we knew you were weird.
It could have been Isaac and Irina being brother and sister. It could have been Vasilka in the Abbey and with the abbot.
Oh, how about,
Finding out the abbot was a celestial and his whole deal was to, create this thing and all that. That was pretty cool.
To appease Strahd.
Yeah, that was his plan. That was cool. Pretty much.
So Oz, what is your biggest mind-blowing moment?
Well, what I don't know, what I wasn't expecting, I didn't expect that we were going to defeat Strahd, and then it turns into the damn Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And I go, okay, so what do I do now? I mean, basically, these people I've been fighting with are evil, and I've come to understand that. And I don't want an evil person taking over this kingdom, even though it's not my kingdom. I got no, I just don't want to see evil prevailing in the end over,
Right. And yeah.
All along, I was allying myself with lesser evils to defeat a greater evil. Very pragmatically, being chaotic good anyway. And then I'm going at the end, I don't know what the hell to do. I considered offing Victor at the very end there and taking the throne myself.
Oh, right.
So we'll roll into that. I'll start off by talking about Victor a bit. So in the subreddit, it greatly advises that the players do not have him as your ally. There's a lot of information about him in Vallaki, how he's like kind of an evil person, how he like manipulated the daughter of the Watchers into doing things that she didn't want to do, and eventually messed with her mental state. We'll get into the Watchers after, but he is essentially a boy that is not capable of being saved. He is just like a bad kid who will never learn, and he will constantly just be terrible to everyone. And I kind of changed that up where he has done bad in the past, but he is redeemable. How Fen, in the end, said he is a redeemable person. With Victor on the throne, his first action will be to remove his dark past from Barovia, which essentially means he will destroy Vallaki and kill the entire Watcher family.
Oh my god!
Just to have a clean slate with that. He just wants to get it out of his mind, start over, and not have that stain be upon his kingdom.
He's wiping out his search history.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah, he's doing a Game of Thrones.
He's gonna allow people who aren't the Watchers out of Vallaki before he destroys it. He's not just gonna kill a bunch of people. But the Watchers are the reason he is an orphan. And so he will do that as his first act. Other than that, he is going to try and make it so that he will rule as best he can without the knowledge of ruling. He will ask Leaf, he will go to Esmeralda, but she feels as if she can't really help lead with this past on her conscience, what happened to Van Richten. And he will go to anyone he's met. He'll ask Mordenkainen. Now that Mordenkainen doesn't have to be in hiding anymore, he will ask him to come to the castle and have some sort of mentor state. Mordenkainen is crazy because he's been casting Mind Blank on himself so that he can't be detected by any thoughts. So that's why he's so insane. So when Strahd's gone, he won't have to do that, and he can actually be Mordenkainen, a powerful mage. So that is what Victor will do. He will destroy his past and create a better future. So that's kind of why he was so eager to be on the throne. He wanted to get rid of that past that was staining his life, his memories.
Yeah. Did
So
he like care about his family? Was it like also to eliminate the Watchers that killed his family? Like, did he care about his family?
oh yeah, he was secluded because he wanted to get out of Barovia because his life was hell. Isaac was basically the surrogate son that the burgomaster wanted, and Victor was just kind of pushed to the side. But they were still family, and they were taken from him against his will. And
Yeah.
it was just, he lost his home, and so he wants vengeance on the Watcher family.
Yeah, I don't feel bad about Victor at all. I think you made a good change for Victor because
Watcher was pretty creepy.
Watcher was creepy, but Victor was like, he's a kid. How old is he? He was like 13 or something.
He was 50. Yeah,
50.
He's a teenager.
Yeah, and so like that's pretty messed up for the book to be like, nope, he's irredeemable. He's just a bad kid. He's gonna do bad stuff. He's just you can't change him. And I was like, that's pretty messed up. He's 15.
The book would probably describe him as neutral evil, and I would describe him as true neutral.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
That's kind of what I was trying to get off with Hume at the end, taking the throne. Talking about, like, he's not going to be as good as you think, but he's still going to be neutral about it.
Yeah, like he's going to give people a chance.
So that leads into my next question. How would your character, if taking the throne, would rule Barovia under the influence of your dark power? So Fen, if you had taken the throne, how would your character rule Barovia?
I gotta think about this a little bit. Can you have like Oz or Hazel go first? Because I gotta think about this.
Does somebody know, how would your character, with the dark power looming over your head, constantly like watching and making sure you're doing what they want, how would your character rule Barovia as a new ruler? Would you let people leave? Because that's one of the powers that you have. People can't leave because of Strahd. He can let people in and let people out, but he generally doesn't want people to leave. That's why the souls constantly stay here and keep being reincarnated into new bodies. So would you let people leave? Would you have a trade? Would you try to make deals with the other realms of the Shadowfell? How would Hazel lead Barovia?
Well, if she went under the dark power, she might start allowing people to leave, but if I think about the attitude of the Great Mother and, let's just keep everyone safe, and she'd be like Baba Yaga level entrapment. I mean, she wouldn't let anybody leave. I don't think.
So would anything change from Strahd's rule?
Yeah. I mean, if she had her way, it would be magic would be more accepted. It would be possibly she wouldn't allow women to be victimized for being witches. Maybe she'd go overboard on that. Maybe it would, she'd I don't know. But I think that there would be definitely some changes. I think the influence would get worse over time. It probably wouldn't be that bad at first, but it would probably end up being pretty awful eventually.
Yeah, like, at first you have an open mindset with like, I need to be better than the previous person, but then you realize there's a lot that he did that was like beneficial to the land. Like keeping people here meant the population went up. Having people come in. The Great Mother is very nurturing, but she's also evil. So it's like, I'm keeping you here for your protection. You are not allowed to leave my. You are in my house. You have my rules, kind of thing.
Yeah. It's for your own good. Kind of a thing.
That's very understandable.
Yeah.
Oz, how would you rule Barovia if you took the throne?
Well, well, first thing of all, I think everyone needs to get a good education in the arts, specifically the dwarven arts of metallurgy and stoneworking.
Yep.
So I would create some smithies and mines around where people could build, learn how to create monuments to Thor's might.
I
So
see.
it'd be
Yeah,
an overground mine, essentially, like
It's,
stone cutting and stonework everywhere, metallurgy.
yes, and we'll hmm
Okay.
and
You'd probably have some
No.
statues erected to yourself.
probably no one could leave because why would they want to? Uh,
The glory of the
If
dwarven.
they think they
life.
want to leave, well, they just need more education.
Oh my god.
Wow, it's totalitarian government.
Yeah.
No. It's just everyone should do the right thing, which is the thing that I happen to want.
Right, yeah, exactly. Everyone likes what you like because you said so.
Because that would be the right thing to do.
Yeah. What you say is good, no matter what it is.
Now you're getting it.
Yeah, I get it. I'm understanding. Okay, so Fen, have you thought of?
Okay. Yes. So, assuming that wolves are still about, werewolves, or wolves and other evil creatures like the druids and stuff. I think Fen, if he took the throne, he would continue to raise an undead army because Fen would still be traumatized, maybe have some PTSD from a great evil coming and trying to take over the land again, like how he had died the first time.
Yeah.
So Fen would still be building a military and like an actual military. He would be rebuilding the military of the olden times and kind of trying to recreate old Barovia as he and his fellow undead remembered it.
Oh, right.
So he'd probably become more militaristic. He would allow people to leave and come, but he would work hard on advertising those who lost loved ones, bring them to Barovia, and they will get a free resurrection, and you will get like to live in Barovia with your undead loved one.
But that's not all.
So
Wait,
Yeah.
there's more. He would also offer housing and jobs to help build the old kingdom. All he asks is that everyone, like, when you become 21, you get to enlist in the military for a certain amount of time, whether you're dead or alive.
Mhm.
And I think Fen would use the militaristic mindset of this is to train the people of Barovia to no longer be afraid and cower at the evils that are in the world. I will teach you and train you to defend yourselves, to fight the wolves, to fight the druids, to fight the evil, and be prepared for any other evil that will try and take over Barovia. Ben would definitely go the militaristic route.
So would he once you get rid of the non-undead monsters, the hags, the druids, the werewolves, would he continue to build his military to invade other demiplanes?
Potentially, yes.
And would
because they
he-
are a potential threat to the throne and therefore to Barovia. So
Damn.
he would be sending his military, his undead military, to take out, because it is the best defense is a good offense. You know, we're gonna strike them before they strike us again. I will not let what happened 500 years ago happen again to Barovia. Barovia will be a stronghold against any other evils that will try and take over Barovia. And Finn also has this paranoia that Strahd isn't truly dead, that he will come back. He may come back eventually, and I will be prepared to strike him down again. So he would be very militaristic. He would be, I mean, he'd be China. Barovia would become China.
He'd be China.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I would advertise out to all of the Forgotten Realms. I would allow people to leave and come in, and I would advertise. I would work hard on marketing Barovia as the place for those who lost loved ones to be with their loved ones again and to live and thrive.
All right. It's you all had really good answers. Speaking
Yeah.
of
I totally believe Fenn.
Yeah, right?
speaking of kind of a dark turn, where was the moment that you, the player, felt the most despair in this campaign? Like, the most hopelessness?
Oh,
The second time we went to the windmill?
oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Now what?
Yeah.
Yeah. It is not to be.
Is that everyone's
just-
answer?
I think so. It sounds like it, yeah.
I remember it as a low point. I remember it as a low point.
I know it was low for Fen because his favorite sword broke, and that was devastating in itself. And we didn't get to kill any witches, and that was even more devastating.
Didn't get to kill any witches.
Like, just stay still and let me punch you.
yeah.
Damn it.
I'll answer this one quickly, but mine was kind of the church in Valaki. Just like
Yeah. He comes and just
hearing
kills
about
everybody.
that, and you kind of just like walk in and see the vampire spawn tearing apart all these people, and you just like look at them and then do nothing. And then you just walk down the aisle as people are screaming and getting their blood and guts ripped out. And you walk to the back and see that Strahd has the priest like held down, and then he tells Fen to give him his sword.
Yeah, that sucked.
And he just kills the priest with Fen's sword, and then he turns and sees the boy in the other room, and he's like, "You're coming with me," and then just leave. And then it's just like, you can't beat me, kind of thing. If I was playing the game, that would be my moment of despair. But going back to the hags, the witches, I want to hear. It was a combat puzzle. I want to hear, how do you think you could have killed and finished off the hags without letting them escape?
We would have had to have like prevented them from.
Well, I could have stopped like one hag. Maybe, but not all of them.
I'll let you know that hold person doesn't work on them because they are not humanoids.
Yeah, because they're not.
They are fiends.
Well,
Hmm.
yeah, it wasn't talking about hold human, right?
Yeah. Hold person is humanoid. There's a spell called hold monster that would have worked.
Sleep didn't work on them. I remember when we first took on the windmill, the strategy was like hold them in place, and so I think Kay had casted the vines. But they were able to get out of that. Like they could just teleport out of it, kind of thing, go to the other realm. So there had to have been something that you could prevent them from teleporting, like from being able to go into the other realm, the ethereal realm or ethereal plane. I don't know. Is there any kind of thing that would help with that? Like,
Yes, you are on the right track.
So could I have done any? At one point I did try to chase her into the ethereal plane, and I lost her, and I was also by myself.
Yes, you would have had to face 3 hags by yourself.
Yeah, I didn't think that was smart at that point. The way she had, the way they've been able to take out everybody else. What was the answer?
Do you want to make any more guesses? Do you want an answer?
I feel like it's a spell.
It is a spell.
Is it a spell?
It's a spell that. Yes, it's a spell that 3 of you had.
Really?
Was it Magic Circle?
It is.
Yeah, but that takes a minute to cast.
Yes. So it is not done in combat. There was a. I guess I can link you. Since the campaign's over, I'll link somebody else's campaign and how they did everything, and you'll see the differences. But what they did is 2 of their players went inside and talked to the hags, just like, hey, like we haven't brought you any kids now, but we have some strategies, and like they talked about things. And while outside, one person was casting magic circle around the windmill because it's a 10-foot radius.
Oh.
The windmill's bigger than that, isn't it?
Which means it's 20 feet across. No, it's not. It's very small. It's like perfect
Remember
size.
how hard it was to fight inside?
And it affected like the entire. It was like it would have affected all levels of
Yes,
the windmill.
It's 10-foot radius, 20-foot tall cylinder.
And the windmill was 20 feet.
I think so. It was very compact. It was a short thing, but
yeah,
that
I
is.
remember, yeah, it was
if
almost
you got them
impossible to fight inside.
If you were talking to them on the bottom floor, and they cast it then they'd have to run all the way up, and you could block them by being on the steps. And they can't exit the circle or harm anyone outside the circle. So that is their strategy for getting rid of them. They wouldn't be able to teleport to a different plane. That is their solution. Otherwise, you'd have to like really burst down one hag before her turn. She could zip out of there, or hold monster, or silence, I think, or something like that to prevent them from being able to cast spells.
So there was a podcast I started listening to called Dwarven Moss, and they are doing a Curse of Strahd campaign, and they fought the hag, the witch lady who was giving out the baked goods in Barovia. They fought her and killed her, and they were like level 1.
Oh my gosh.
And it was like the 3rd episode of the campaign, and I was like, really?
No fair.
Like, is that the strategy? You have to take her out right away, like, and you got to get them one by one, kind of thing.
One
Like,
by
we're
one
never
would
gonna be able
work.
to do that now.
Yeah. But when she fought you outside Valaki, she learned that she can't be alone because she would not survive, and so that was your chance to fight her and defeat her before she left.
Yeah, she ran away.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how people have done it to kill the hags of Windmill. The new girl, the little girl who was in the windmill the second time,
Mm-hmm.
Leleni.
Yeah. The one I
She
ended up with.
so hags are kind of weird where if they suspect that one of them is gonna die, they will steal a child, infect them. No, so they will steal a child, eat the child whole, and then give birth to the child again, and then that child is a hag. It is raised like a normal little girl, and up to about 12 or 13, they start to show signs of being a hag. And so that's what she was. She was younger. I think she was 11, where she was like just getting to that point where she was going to become a hag when she was in the windmill. So they were raising her to become one of them.
Oh my
so,
gosh.
You didn't use divine sense on her, but you knew that there was something about her that was different. Like a certain thing didn't work on her, even though it should have. So, that's why it was kind of weird, because she was a hag, and in a couple years, she's going to be just like them. That's why, like, the Great Mother was like, "Here, take her to Babala Saga, and she will
Saga
raise
was
her."
like, oh yeah. I'll
Yeah,
take
and
that.
she saw the hag in Lelani, and was like, "Yes, let's do this. I am totally up for raising this little girl."
Oh.
So that's why in the end, at the very end, when Hazel kept trying to leave, Lelani found her and was like, "Let's be a coven together. We need a third person, but let's be a coven."
Who is the
Wow.
third? Who is the third member of the coven?
I don't know. She said, "Let's find a third. Do you know of anybody?" And I'm like, I don't know. You know?
Yeah, it was kind of a to be continued kind of thing.
Yeah.
Next time on Curse of Strahd.
Yeah. Next time, and
In the sequel.
yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on the hags or Leleni before we move on?
No. Well, I didn't realize that's what was going on with her. I knew there was something funky. You know, she was corrupted in some way. I didn't know which.
And then
You
when
know?
she in Berez, when she disappeared, she went to the ethereal plane.
Yeah.
Oh.
And she just
could
straight
do
up
that too.
disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Perez with Babala Saga, what was at the house? What was the glowing floor?
Okay, so I changed Berez like almost completely. Berez in the book was really boring. It was a swamp, but it wasn't as flooded as I had in my campaign. It was just like gross. You had constantly bugs biting you. You couldn't take a short or long rest because you were constantly being bitten by things. There were scarecrows that were scattered about that you had to fight, and crows, and like these just things there, just unpleasant. It was just, and then when you saw Babala Saga, she just like attacks you, like she's just another person. And she is the surrogate mother to Strahd. History is when Strahd was a child, she was raising him. No, she was the what was it? The wet nurse. For the queen.
Oh.
And so she, at one point, took magic and blessed, quotes, Strahd with magic. And so she considers herself the true mother of Strahd. Even though she's the surrogate mother. She's not biologically his mother. So that was her thing with the crib in her house.
Strahdzy and all that, but
yeah, the baby and the crib itself was an illusion. It was this like holding on to the infantilism of having a child and like knowing he'll do great things and all this stuff. But all that wasn't real. And she just attacked you on sight. That just another boring NPC that had so much more story that could have been. So I improved Perez. In my mind, I improved it. Strahd had come to Perez. He wanted to marry an incarnation of Tatiana. The Burgermaster denied it, and so and also killed the incarnation of Tatiana so that Strahd couldn't have her. And so in retaliation, he flooded and killed the entire town of Perez. And then Babla Saga took over and had that be her home where she just resided. So I changed it. I made it even swampier. I added more water. Originally there were no residents. They were just like empty houses that were waterlogged because of the flood. But I made Perez a retirement. I made it so that, like you, adventurers would come here and they would see this tranquil place outside of Strahd's control. They would come here, see this, feel like you feel despair out there, you feel comfort in here. Whatever you do outside of here, nothing matters. But when you come here, you're safe. The matters of the outside land don't matter to you. You just that's what the lethargy was. You felt.
So it's Olive Garden.
Yes, unlimited dead sticks.
Unlimited dead sticks. When you're here, you're family.
Yeah, that's what all the old people were. Like the people who just like were senile. They had felt that lethargy so much they
were like all scrawny and stuff.
They lost their strength, dexterity, wisdom, intelligence, charisma, all that. And they were former heroes who came there and just stayed. And that's what would have happened to you if you just kept coming here, spending the night, taking your long rests, and you would have just ended up shriveled old people.
Jeez.
So I felt like that was more interesting than just my son is Strahd, I'm gonna kill you.
I take it back. That was where I felt the most despair in the game.
Oh,
Okay.
Was after our long rest in Perez. Yes, that was when I felt the most despair.
Okay. Well, that's a positive for me.
Yeah.
My change was impactful.
Yeah, it was.
So is that not supposed to happen? If you take a long rest, you lose your stuff?
Nope. If you had tried to take a long rest, it wouldn't happen. Like, constantly things biting at you. It says, like, there's a feature in Perez where insects are constantly biting at you and you're not able to get benefits of a rest. And I felt like, well, I'll give them a rest, but I will take something from them as well. And the Dark Powers were able to remove that from you if you accepted their gift. Also, if you had gone to the Abbot, he would have relieved you of that lethargy.
I feel like the Abbot, though, our impression of him, at least based off of our interaction with him, didn't feel like he would have done that.
So he is a lesser evil. Even though he's a good celestial, going to him, he would have done those things for you if you had given him a favor, bring him bodies, giving him Irina's soul, that kind of thing. He would have helped you. He would have helped you after doing a deal. So that was one way to get rid of the lethargy. Because if I cursed you with lycanthropy and I cursed you with lethargy and you weren't able to do greater restoration, that would have just been like annoying and bullshit. But going to the Dark Powers, going to the Abbot, being able to remove that is just like, it's a way to do a quid pro quo. So I hope Perez was better than just what it was supposed to be. Going back to what your question was, and sort of sidetracking, the skull outside of her house was not
Yeah.
a dragon skull in the campaign. It was just a giant skull. It was a skull of a humanoid.
Oh.
And the skull of the dragon was actually in the basement of the castle where you fought Ludmilla, the
How the
werewolf
hell are you
girl.
supposed to get that?
Well, you're supposed to explore. It was an incentive for you to explore.
But we couldn't carry it. How are you supposed to carry it out?
I don't know. It wasn't. That's why I moved it, because it was not a very good spot. I felt. And I thought that why does she have a giant skull when there are no giants in Barovia? It's a bit weird. So I figured the skull of Argynvost was slain. She got that as a trophy. And that was an incentive for you to go there and kill her and take it from her. To have that fight.
Okay.
The glowing green floor was one of the gems for the winery. It was what made it so the house was animate, living. If you had gone inside and pulled the gem out before killing the house, it would have become an inanimate object.
Did we miss a clue there where there was a clue that was what that was?
I just kept saying the floor is glowing green.
Yeah.
Like, between the
And we were
floorboards.
supposed to investigate it,
Yeah.
but we didn't want to touch anything. I think I had my guy try and be cool about searching, but I was like, I don't know what I can get away with, man.
Yeah, I mean, when she's there, she's not going to let you do anything. But if you had gone there when she was away,
and she was away a few times.
a couple times, yeah. And then that gem, Lilani has around her neck at the end of our campaign when she meets Hazel. She's like, because she went when she disappeared, she went back to the house and took that gem, and she knew its power, so she took it for her own good, and she was like, "Hey, let's make a coven. I have powers." So if you had gone to Argynvost Holt and come back, the gem would have been missing because you had missed your chance to go in and grab it before. So that is what the glowing was. The kind of going off of both those things, the gem and the skull. The skull was in the basement, and the heart in the tower wasn't supposed to have a gem in it. The heart, I don't think it even was supposed to be the heart of Argynvost. It was just a magical heart that took damage instead of Strahd taking it. So if you had not taken it, he would have had more hit points. He would have had more health. So he would have been just stronger. And you taking the heart really pissed him off because that meant it was easier for you to kill it. The gems, so one was in the tree thing, and one was in the house. Originally in the campaign, the third gem is nowhere. It's gone. It's just not in the game. So retrieving both gems would have given you a level up. But I figured the gems are life-giving. They give life to a tree, they gave life to a house, so why not give life to the heart? And that is what powers the heart to do its sacrificial magic.
Okay.
So that's why I put, like, in this crystal heart, there's a very tiny point of light that's brighter than the rest, and then it radiates throughout. So that was that. Took care of that.
The winery?
The winery, with the Vistani, I mean, that was just like a communication error. You saying that I brought you all of these barrels, and then saying, actually, no, we need to take them elsewhere. That was just like, they thought you were stitching them under on their wine, even though that was more than they normally get. So that was just what made them. The quest that they asked you to do, finding the little girl, she was at Lake Velaki, the lake outside of Velaki, which I tried to hint at many times. I had Irina go there. I had people talk about it. There was one night where Fen was keeping watch and he saw someone with a sack that was like struggling, and he was running towards Velaki, and Fen was like, "That's not my business. I'm not going to take care of that."
Oh.
That was me trying to bait you into being like, "Oh, somebody is being kidnapped. We should follow him." But
I'm sure it's fine.
yeah. It in the campaign, it's someone kidnaps the Vistani girl and believes that he can sacrifice her to the lake to get more fish to come and bite, because they're starving. So if you had gone to the lake, you would see him throwing the sack that's struggling into the water. It would be your choice to go out and like get in a boat and go out there, or swim out there and save her. And that was an event that you didn't interact with at all.
Well, we didn't do that.
Sticking with Velaki, the Watcher family. So, you explored Lady Watcher pretty much to her fullest. She was using you. She wanted to do anything she could to help her get back Velaki. But if you had explored her house a bit more, you would have found her room, the master bedroom, has a dead body in the bed. And
That's weird.
The dead body has 2 coins on its eyes. Her late husband, she has been casting the spell. What's the one that prevents someone's body from decaying?
Oh,
that prevents them from decaying?
yeah, it's it's not ceremony. Last respite or something like that.
Gentle repose.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay.
It just prevents the body from decaying for 10 days. Which helps if you want to resurrect them, because it prolongs their death time. So every 10 days, she casts the spell on him, and in a hope to one day resurrect him through Strahd's favor.
Sodium benzoate added as a preservative.
I was trying to think of
So that would be one of the
Involving-
rooms. Another room would be her daughter's room, which it's kind of weird. Victor and her and the daughter were supposed to be engaged, like joining of 2 powerful families in Velaki. And so like she sent her daughter to hang out with Victor to like get to know each other before they get married. And Victor was just like, I don't care about this person. Just like leave me alone. And what was her name? What was the daughter's name? Do I even have it?
I don't think we ever learned her name. I just remember it was like the daughter of the Watcher. Like,
Yeah.
Lady Watcher.
So she's like, I want to like get to know you because we're destined to get married, so we might as well know something about each other. So they're in his room in the attic, and he's like just casting spells, trying to ignore her, and she's like trying to get his attention and try and like talk to him. And both her and a cat get step into the teleportation circle that he's trying to get out of Barovia with. And her mind melds with a cat. And so if you find her in the room, she's like acting like a cat. She like meows. She's very cutesy. She's running around on all 4s. She's trying to play with you, and that's one of the reasons why people don't like Victor, because he did this to her.
It sounds like it was an accident. Like she was interacting with the cat, and they both walked into a circle.
Well, no, she was trying to get his attention, and she's just like running around, like being playful, and she accidentally gets into the middle with one of his spells that he doesn't know how to control because he's self-taught.
He's trying to learn, yeah.
Yeah.
So like, it sounds like an accident.
Yeah, it was, but people take it as like you acted horribly to this person, and therefore she suffered the consequences for it.
Messed up.
Yeah,
But-
I changed it. Like, I thought him being your fated ally was more interesting, and it was the tarot card I pulled up, so I wasn't gonna change it. I'd rather change a little bit of the characters than change the randomness. Because if you change
this original, it wouldn't have been like. I feel like we would have interacted the same. And like, look, it's not your fault. Sounds like it was just a terrible accident. Don't know why that girl was there in the first place. Like, that's just against OSHA protocols kind of thing. Like, you know, like I feel like it would have still been the same. We wouldn't have held that against Victor. So that's pretty messed up.
if I had changed the tarot cards, your readings, then what is the point of it being random? Like,
Yeah.
I tried to keep as true, because that if we change that, then why don't I just pick them? Why don't I just pick the spots in the fated ally? Why not?
Might as well just stack the cards.
Right.
I had a question about the winery and the hill, Druid
Okay.
Hill.
Yeah.
What was with the tree, with the axe?
It was like a vampire tree. It was like bleeding. It was like the source of the druid's power. So if there was
Never heard of
more about it, and you had to kill it to actually like remove the druids from the land. But like you had to really kill it. If you had left it with like just a sprig, it would have come back within a certain amount of time. It wasn't as important as some of the other plot points, so I didn't really emphasize too much on it.
Okay.
One thing I changed about the tower was really... It was a tough choice, because the puzzle wasn't solved, and I didn't know how to get you inside, or how to resolve. You would have just been, like, constantly trying to destroy it, or pull it apart, or cast magic. So I had Valenta and Rahadin show up. And, like, I knew that Esmeralda was in the tower, and they were trying to get at her. So I was like, I don't know, just destroy the tower. Like, how else are they gonna get to her? There was very little with the tower in the original. It was just a place for either Van Richten or Esmeralda to be inside. It was just a spot. It was just a location. My change didn't really change that much, except for get Esmeralda captured.
Were we supposed to fight Rahadin and Valenta?
No, I mean, it was a choice. I did it when you weren't there, because that's when they would attack. Like, that would be their opportunity to do so. You went off to fight the werewolves, and I thought that's the perfect time for these two to show up and do whatever they need to do. So it was a weird thing, just like progressing this story without you being frustrated with the tower. Van Richten was a very different character in the module. He is just a traveling bard that has a secret identity as Rudolf Van Richten. So in the original game, his pseudonym was Rictavio, and he's like this pompous-looking noble guy, and he doesn't really interact with the party that much. And I wanted, since he is a more important character in this game, I wanted him to have more of a history, more interesting character, kind of more mysterious. So I gave him Flint, and I made him the ferryman, essentially. He was the person. He brings souls into Barovia to defeat Strahd. And so he, like, that's why you met him at the beginning. And he's got this southern, like, drawl. He's just happy to have you around. And then when you get to Barovia, he's just not there. He's gone doing his own thing. So, that was pretty much my changes. Originally, you wouldn't have interacted with him until Valaki. They have a thing with his cat. His cat is actually a tiger. I was like, maybe I'll just have him cast Reduce on the tiger, have it be a normal sized cat. And then when he wants it to do things, he will enlarge it again. And then he gave his monkey to Blinsky. And then you find him fighting werewolves in the forest.
Right.
And you got really close to the werewolf den. I was trying to get you to pursue him. That was one of the locations you didn't explore.
That was when you were in the forest and Hazel was still by the tower.
Yes. You were attacked by werewolves, and then Van Richten shows up, owns their asses, and then they go off running, and he runs after them. I wanted you to be like, who is this mysterious person? We know him, but do we know him? Kind of thing. You could have gone back, get Hazel, and then go back in the forest and follow him. The werewolves were they were a clan. They were stealing children from Kresk and turning them into werewolves. And you were to go there and find out that there are kind of two factions within the werewolf den. One is leading with strength and no weakness. Humanity is weakness. Lycanthropy is the way to go. And then the other side was live and let live. We just want to be able to have rights and not be seen as monsters. So you would have been approached if you had gone to the den by the leader of the werewolf rights people and talk to hey, can you go to the castle and bring out a werewolf that is trapped there, who was Emil. And that's why he wanted nothing to do with you, because you didn't mention anything about werewolves. You didn't say you were on the side of his wife. And so he was just like, nope, I'm out of here. I'm free. I'm gonna take off. And if you had gone to the werewolf den, that's where you would have encountered Ludmilla, because she was the werewolf leader. She was she was controlling the werewolves through Strahd. So that was her location that she would have been at. I didn't put as much as Valenta as I originally planned. I just forgot. She was supposed to be at the Abbey, getting body parts for the Abbot. And she was also supposed to be at Argynvost trying to recruit the Revenant to Strahd. Although that was not going to happen because the Revenant were against him. But she was supposed to be there, and we were supposed to interact. I just forgot.
That's fine. We probably would have been too scared then to do anything in those locations if we saw a wife there.
That's true. Yeah.
So, Like how we didn't go across the bridge because we saw an Astrasian. I was like, no.
Yeah,
Not going there.
she was there because I mean it was a spot of weather. It was in a
Yeah.
high place. There was snow. It was cold. Overcast clouds. Everything. You could have taken her if you had tried. My whole plan with that was you would have defeated her and either killed her or she would beg for her life. And if you had spared her, she would escape somehow and then betray you. But you were just like, nope, not gonna go there. Don't want to have anything to do with it. Just teleport away. So yeah, that's what your interaction with her would have been. And then I think the final thing that I had prepared for you, but you didn't interact with, was the fake wedding.
Oh yeah.
You said in the castle, we're gonna raid the castle. We're gonna go find the chapel because that's where the steps to the downstairs was. And I was gonna have you show up to the chapel, and it would have been Vasily, disguised as Strahd, and Vasilka beneath a heavily obscured wedding dress. Rahadin was going to be the officiary. The doll Pickwick II was going to be the both the flower girl and the ring bearer.
Oh my.
And then Helga and Leaf were supposed to be the witnesses. So yeah, if you had fought Vasily, it would have been very similar to the fight with Strahd, only he would have been died faster, and then turned to snow again. Rahadin would have had a chance to fight you. Helga might have joined in if she felt like her master was telling her to defend him. But yeah, that's what I was planning for the wedding. And I figured if the aftermath of the castle falling apart, Vasilka not having any kind of soul or feelings herself would have just fallen unconscious. Some rock hit her, and then Vasily got smashed and instantly killed. And then Rahadin, knowing that his master had been slain, flees. Just runs away because, like, his loyalty is gone because his master's dead.
Oh. Huh.
So were they like waiting for us?
That would have been fun. That sounded like
Essentially,
it was fun.
yes.
They were like,
And
oh
the
my god,
only
where
one that
are
got
they?
to see anything was Leaf.
Yeah.
Oh, you missed it! It was the most beautiful wedding.
Poor Leaf. I accept my fate. I'm ready to die.
Yeah.
So what was with Pickwick?
He was just a fun little doll. If you hadn't left him with Leaf, he would have been like very mischievous and hung around with you guys. He wouldn't fight, but he would just be like a little jester.
Oh man, we missed out.
Yeah, he like a familiar kind of thing.
Oh. Nice.
He was just a doll that had been given life. There were a few things you missed. There were a few magic items. Like in the Amber Temple, if you had explored it more, there were a few, like a staff, a sword, a pendant.
Oh, what was with the Lich guy in the Amber Temple?
He was exactly what he was portrayed as. He was just, he was a lich that had forgotten who he was. So he kind of forgot that he was evil. You could have taken his spell book and added spells to the wizard's spell list. He wouldn't have liked that, but yeah, he was just a lich with Alzheimer's.
That's
Oh,
it? Like there was no real
he
purpose to
was
him? Like
fun. I liked
He
him.
would have, if you
I
have
want to
asked
change
him.
my answer. He was my favorite.
Okay. If you would have asked him about the Ember Temple, like, we encountered these places we can't go. Is there some sort of like secret way of getting in? He'd be like, oh yeah, I remember some words. If you say this word at this location, you would have had this revealed to you. So he was kind of a source of information about the Amber Temple, because he had lived there for so long. Like little things to spark his memory, but he would still not remember that he was evil. If you had attacked him, he would have defended himself and tried to kill you, but other than that, he's neutral.
Like there was no way we could have like added him to a party or anything.
No, he wasn't
No
gonna
way.
ever leave that room.
Okay.
He's like, I'm here. This is my comfort zone.
Did he have a name? Because he couldn't remember his name.
His name was Exanther.
Oh.
So EXETHAN THER.
Yeah, he was cool. I liked him. He was fun. Just like oh, hey. Like, oh, hey, man. You want to come with? No.
Yeah.
All right, man. You need anything?
Yeah.
I've got everything. Thanks.
Got everything. Okay, man. You do you.
Yeah.
You seem nice.
Yeah, when you opened the door and was like, oh, no, I'm not going
Oh
in
my
there.
God, it's a witch! It's a witch! And he goes, "Ooh, come
And
in,
he
come
just
in."
like looked over and was like, hi.
I was going to
Yeah.
get espresso. Okay.
I was curious if he was like, anything important. Let's see. There was something.
There was a
Something
glowing in the water in the cells, which was a very
yeah.
was super powerful sword. Magic sword.
What was it?
What was it?
Oh, like in the cells in Castle Ravenloft.
Yeah, so I had described there was like a glowing in one of the cells. And you're like, oh,
yeah,
that's
what
cool.
was that? Was that one
Bye.
of the? Was
He
that
said it
one of
was
the
a super
places?
powerful sword.
Yeah.
What? Oh, how would we even get to it? We would
Well, I
have
Have
mean-
to unlock it.
Yeah, just
We
unlock
unlocked a
it,
bunch of other
or
stuff.
Oh.
it's called a crusading short sword. Sentient. Bright light, 15 feet. A lawful good creature can attune to the sword in 1 minute. While attuned, the
Oh,
sword's
wow.
wielder can use the sword to cast Crusader's Mantle spell. And then a +1 short sword. That was magic.
So Oz would have been able to use the sword,
Yeah.
and like to attune it in under in a minute. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, there were
Yeah.
a bunch of items in random places. Once you got your power, the dark powers in the Amber Temple, you're just like, I'm done. Let's leave. And there was
I mean,
there was a Staff of Frost. There was an amulet of Control Shield Guardian, which is like a construct that would protect you. There were some things in secret places in Strahd's castle. There was his vault, if you had ever found that. So, talking about things you missed, my next question is, what was something you wished had a different outcome? Or, and also, what was something that you wished your character had done differently?
Oh.
So, something that was a different outcome and something that your character had done differently. You don't have to answer these questions if you feel like everything went as you liked. But if you feel like there was something that was just like, man, I wish I could go back and like change this outcome for my character or something else that happened. 1 second. Sorry, I had to let the cat out again. Okay. Fen, what do you think?
I think overall, I wish I was less afraid because we did a lot of pin in it stuff.
Yeah.
I wish I was less afraid. And I feel like that even as a group, like we were very cautious
Yeah.
of things. And I wish we weren't.
It was harder when we had
Maeve.
Maeve with us
Yeah.
Maeve just was not there to do any kind of adventure stuff. Definitely. And so it was always like either Maeve has to stay behind or we can't do this thing, you know. That was difficult.
I think those are things that I regret. Like, I wish we had like investigated stuff more.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I took my time with some things, like the Abbey. I don't know if we explored all of it. Did we explore the Abbey all completely?
I think eventually you did.
Missed a little bit.
I think there was like one thing that you didn't explore to the fullest, but it wasn't super important.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
and
essentially
again,
you did.
like, yeah, like I know there was places that we just did not explore, like the castle, Ravenloft. After the dinner, it's like I wish we did more. We had explored more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we left a lot out.
Yeah.
Mostly because we had Maeve with us.
We were afraid. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I was okay with not doing the basement because he'd pretty much said if you go to the basement, my protection ends. And so we're like, okay, we're not going there. I don't think we were of any kind of level that could have handled anything in the basement.
I don't know. Like, the things that I think that's.
I mean, I died how many times while on that trip? My character died, but 3 times?
Did she? I don't think your character died at all.
Oh yeah, no.
Well, you went
was
down
revived.
to 0. You were knocked out.
I was down to 0.
But you never died.
Well,
the witches in the
below 0,
tower did take you down, but
Yeah.
you didn't fail. You didn't get 3 death fails, so
yeah,
You didn't die.
die. Yeah.
the only characters that died were Kay and Hume twice,
Yeah.
and Fen at the very end.
Yep.
Killed each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's something that I regret. I wish it was really a struggle because after Kay died and we were so wishy-washy with everything.
Mm-hmm.
We were like, do we want to go do this? No, let's put a pin in it. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So
I came up with put a pin in it because it was starting to frustrate me.
yeah, like it's like, do we want to go do this? And it was very frustrating. And I felt like, okay, we just don't feel confident. We don't feel like we'll survive. So maybe we need like a meat shield to make people feel more confident. So that's why I said like I'd had that powwow with Maeve and Hazel of like, what do you want?
Need? Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, let's do a paladin. I'll be a meat shield. I'll be a healer, you know, so that we have more confidence. And then we still didn't have confidence. Like we still just didn't investigate stuff. Like I wish we investigated more. Like I remember listening to like the glowing floor thing in Baba's Saga, but I just didn't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, those are the things that I regret that I would have been different about.
Was there a plot point that you wished had a different outcome? I mean, a lot of despair moments. But...
A lot of despair moments. It sucked having to kill Hume. That wasn't fun. I felt bad about that.
Yeah, I bet.
All right, Hazel.
Yeah.
Do you have moments where you wish the outcome was different, or you wish that your character had done something different?
I wish the outcome was different. All those dice rolls. All those lousy
Very
dice
fair.
rolls.
Yeah.
I had some horrible dice rolls. But it was great in that final battle that we had a chance with a few of them. You know, that was a cool thing that happened. Things that I really wish had happened different. Well, I wish that there was, and it's part of the game, so I can't really say because it's part of the game that you never get satisfaction. And so that was something that I missed. Any kind of sense of satisfaction as we just did the right thing. That was the thing we were supposed to do right there. It was so satisfying to me when we finally had a clear path. We know what we need to do next. I think it happened when we got the damn dragon heart. That was, I think, the best episode. We got the dragon heart, we took it back, and the dragon, the dragon did its thing. Because when the dragon didn't, we didn't have the whole body. That was frustrating. But it's part of the game.
That is something I changed. You're only supposed to get, I think, just the skull to Argynvost.
That was so frustrating.
I made it so you had to get both, so that the beacon was harder to get, and I figured that once you got Argynvost, you would head to Strahd. And I wanted you to explore more and like have more fulfilling results.
I see.
So once you returned either the skull or the heart, the heart, restoring the heart, made him a shadow dragon. Restoring the skull made him a lich dragon.
I see.
So depending on which one you got first would have outcome that. But yeah, so that's the only change I made. Just slightly harder to get that outcome, so that you would explore more.
Oh, I see. Like, what else did you want us to explore?
Well, you explored pretty much everything. Like I said, the werewolf den. You missed you missed out on 3 levels. You missed out on the level from the werewolf den. You missed out on a level from the windmill. If you had defeated the hags and prevented them from escaping, that would be a level. And you missed out on a level by returning all 3 gems to the winery.
Were there any tarot cards with those things that we missed? Did we pick up on all
No.
the tarot card things? Okay.
Those aren't like the tarot cards are the key items in the game, and
Okay.
those will give you level up no matter what. These things are just like side quests that will give you a level up if you finish them, but are not necessary. To get there.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, not necessarily with that, like, because we'd gone to Argynvost, and they were like, bring the heart back. And I was like, okay, well, I'm pretty sure I think I know where the heart is. Because Mordenkainen had given Fen the clue that the heart was in Strahd's castle. And so we went and got the heart, and then we brought it back, and then they were like, we didn't know. And it's like, oh, we need the body too.
Yeah, that was.
But we'd already known where the body was too. So it was like, what else did we need to explore? Or was it like did we need to take down Baba Lysaga? Does she like help Strahd in the final fight or anything? Or
Yeah, she would have helped out. I mean, in her mind, she thinks she's Strahd's mother, so she would have helped as best she could. If just the heart had been restored, would you, and you got Argynvost back, would you have gone back to the swamp and tried to defeat Baba Lysaga, or would you just have said,
we would have
we're done?
Like, all right, cool. We have the dragon, we have the army. Let's go try and take down this big bad. Let's go try and take down the devil. I don't think we would have gone anywhere else.
Well, that's good. That's good that I. And I figured that, yeah, the windmill, the winery, the werewolf den aren't that important. They're just aspects of Barovia that have interesting story behind them.
Yeah.
And essentially, you do get that story because I'm telling you it right now. Just the difference is I'm telling you instead of showing you.
Right.
But that's not originally how it goes in the campaign. It's
no.
you just return the heart, or you said
you
you
return the
return
skull, which is in the
So that first thing.
first basement.
Yeah.
The heart is not in the heart is Strahd's heart. It's just a damage soak. The gem is not in there. There's only 2 gems in Barovia that it describes. So yeah, adding more things just added to it. And I don't feel like it was padding, because it was more lore, it was more struggle, more tactics. Kind of had to, how do we retrieve the skull? That was like a huge thing that you went through.
Is there like an actual method of transporting the skull in the book?
If it hadn't been destroyed, you would have been able to take control of it via telepathy kind of thing. Like the rider can control it and fly it around.
Oh my gosh. Any of us could have?
I think it's an attunement thing, but yeah.
It was a magic item?
Yeah. But Baba Saga was like, I know your plan. I'm going to remove the magic from the skull by destroying it.
Is Baba La Saga, is that like, I guess, are there actions that occur that are written for these NPCs? Like, is that like written, like Baba Saga tries to destroy, like tries to do suicide?
No, that was my choice. You had really wrecked her in that just one-on-one. And so, like, I felt like she would say, my only hope is to, 1, explode him, 2, destroy the skull, and 3, have him fall to his death. So, she would have just been flying around, died, the skull lands, and then somebody could fly it.
Wild.
Like I said, in the book, it was a giant skull. It wasn't a dragon skull.
I see.
But like the dragon skull in the castle, in the basement.
How would you get that out? How would you get that back to Argon?
Is there a suggestion in the book?
There is not, no.
It's just like the players can, the skull's located in the basement, players can try and figure out how to get it out, or?
It says it describes the skull of the dragon Argynvost is in this room, and that's it. The bone room with the bone table and the bone walls.
Is the skull like smaller?
Maybe, I don't know, but I ignored it and I made my own narrative for it that I thought was better. I was trying to do as basic as I could for this campaign, like just by the books. But I felt like a lot of the changes were either personal or would get you to explore more of the campaign.
Yeah.
Oz, getting back to the question, was there something you wished had a different outcome or something you wished your character had done differently?
Hang on, let me ask him. Hey, Milo, was there something with your character? Was there something you wish there would have been a different outcome? He was asking a question.
If not, that's okay.
Well, he was just up in the kitchen.
Okay.
He's thinking about it.
Next question, what was your favorite moment in general? Like, had to do with anything.
Favorite moment in general?
Like, really happy moment, funny, strength, or it could be sadness, like actual emotional, where you felt sorry for someone. You could like feel like Irina was your favorite in the fact that she's forever Tatiana and always gonna be pursued by Strahd.
Oh yeah, poor girl.
I think, in general, gosh, what was my favorite moment?
maybe it was something you've already mentioned before. Like, Hazel's interaction with people, Mordenkainen.
Yeah, Mordenkainen was fun. That was a fun interaction.
Yeah, we didn't get to hear any of it.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
liked when we were in Strahd's castle and we killed that room of witches.
That was a mini triumph, yeah.
Yeah, that was a mini triumph, but
It was
also there
hard,
was just
yeah.
some good dialogue. Like Hazel go talk to them, and just like, look,
Why do you
ladies.
think that I should be talking to them?
And then they were like, "You're not a witch. We know what a witch when we see one." And you were like, kind of offended,
Yeah.
like, "This is what I want, right?" And
was
then
pretty.
like antagonizing, taunting Anastasia, and Hazel getting hit by lightning
yeah.
because she was next to Fen.
And she
And
went
then,
down.
like, yeah, and Hazel
yeah, boom.
died. Hazel passed out, died.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I'm like,
don't. And
thanks
then
a
like
lot.
healed her so she came back up, and then I think we taunted Tatiana or Anastasia again, and Hazel went down again.
Damn it.
And they're like, "All right, I think that's enough. Let's get out of here." I think that was a good moment. That was a fun moment.
Hazel,
Yeah,
what
there were
is
some
your
laughs.
favorite moment?
Oh, jeez. My favorite moment was being right about the sword. Again, it was my favorite.
Okay, yeah.
I like to be right when I'm right, especially when nobody's listening to me. It happens often, not as often as I'd like it to be, but yes. Yeah, that was a good moment to be right about that and pull that sucker out. And also that was probably also one of the best moments because I felt like, okay, now we're cooking with gas. Now we've got our wheels. I just felt like we were spinning our wheels so much for so long that successfully finding that sword. And I told Milo, I remember talking to Milo about how he must suspect that we're looking, that we're reading up on this campaign somewhere, that we've got insight or something, because you were saying you went straight to the door.
Oh,
You
yeah,
went
that was
past
like
all
just
this other
freaking-
stuff,
Yeah.
and you went straight to the door, and then you were just gonna walk away from the piles of treasure.
Yeah.
And Hazel says, "No, I'm gonna go back in and look," and yeah, but honestly, we were not metagaming or whatever you call it when you sneak peeks of what's supposed to happen.
Right,
It
yeah.
was just dumb luck.
That really was just straight luck. And then I remember when it was like Hazel was right, and it was and it was like, what? Really? I expected it to be more harder to find. Like,
Yeah.
not what I was expecting. Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I do like your laser focus attention to doors that you're not supposed to go in.
Yeah.
There are open doors everywhere or unlocked doors, and you have to go in the locked.
Yeah, I got
The one that takes so much effort has to go in that one.
Yep.
One behind you that's unlocked that leads to everything you need. That's fine. Whatever. Just leave that.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
before you fought Ludmilla in the bone room, the door was barred from the other side, and you would take no for an answer. But the door behind you unlocked. Like you didn't
look
even
at
try it. Nope.
Nope.
You eventually went to it and tried it, and it was unlocked. But
That
no,
was
you got to
after
go
we
in the
murdered
barred
everyone
door.
in the other room.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the door that went to nowhere?
Yeah.
Portal room? What was that?
What's that supposed to be?
So I mixed up the layout a bit, and the door that led there led somewhere else. And it just led to another part of the castle that was it was all just my confusion, and there were so many. This pathway leads to this spot, and this pathway leads to this spot. I'm just like, I don't want to have to deal with it. It's just a wall. It's just a wall.
It's just a door.
It was just a
with
wall.
sealed wall.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, what is this? And then
I
we had
have to
Oz
go
working on
behind it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're laser focused to where you're not supposed to be.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, we're good at that.
does
you know.
Oz have an answer for outcome
No.
or favorite
Peace
moment?
out.
Okay.
Oh, hang on. Did you come up with a favorite moment, Milo? Just washing dishes. Okay. No. No, he couldn't think of anything.
Okay. Well, you
He's
can
just
always
washing dishes.
talk
He's
through.
just doing other stuff.
He can talk through you if he shouts
Yeah.
it to you.
If he thinks of something. He'll probably think of something later.
So, what is your overall feeling about the campaign? How do you feel about Curse of Strahd? This specific one that's personalized for you.
Yeah. I think it took a really long time.
Yeah, how long is it normally supposed to take for it to go through Curse of Strahd campaign?
About a year and a half.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think this is
Oh.
2 years. Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years, I think, yeah.
Or maybe a year. I think it's supposed to take a year. It was a bit of dawdleness. What is it? Dawdle, when you dawdle around.
Yeah, we did some of that.
You kept going to one spot, wanting to accomplish something and not accomplishing anything, and then going to another spot and doing the same. Just a lot of back and forth of traveling where nothing was really accomplished. And putting a pin in it when you very easily could have finished something.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I thought it was good. That's fine. Do you feel like you wished it was shorter?
Well, I have a friend of mine was, I think, right about the time we started playing Strahd, I was directing a show, and my friend JC, anyway, he owns the comic book shop and D&D shop in Leavenworth, and he said, "Oh my God, I just started a thing. It was supposed to just be a short, maybe two night thing we thought we could do with our weekly D&D group, and it lasted just 6 months, and we just didn't think it was ever going to be over." Well, what was it called? Curse of Strahd. And he was going on because it was 6 months. I said, "Oh, we just started that game, and then a year later we're still going, and a year after that, was it about 2 years? Of
I
course,
think
we
it's
did
about 2
take some-
years.
So
Yeah.
we started, it looks like, March 5th, 2021.
Oh, well, that's not too bad.
Almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Almost 2 years. Right?
Yep.
Well, because
It's
we're
almost
going into
23.
2023.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't know. I don't think that's that bad.
There were a lot of breaks, like can't make it,
Yeah.
or like just holiday
Oh.
kind of stuff.
And we had
Vacations.
we lost and added so many players,
Yeah.
We lost and added players a lot, and you kind of have to kind of slow down to get them up to speed. It's not like you can just barrel straight into the next big part of the story, when somebody's just starting with you.
Yeah. So
yeah.
this campaign took a year and 9 months.
Oh boy.
So almost 2 years, yeah.
Yeah. 2 years.
I'm curious how it will differ from going by the book, like, because I know it sounds like you did make changes to some of the plot devices and such, and I'm curious how it goes based off of book. Like, if a person's like going stick to the book, they don't make any alterations. I'm curious what it's like, how it compares differently,
You would have had more random encounters on the road. because you have to roll for those. I tried to do that at the start, but you weren't fighting, so I just figured it's not gonna happen. You wouldn't have gotten any dark offers until the Amber Temple, and you would have had more of a selection. But those powers are very limited. It's like get a spell that you can cast 3 times and then it's gone. There's like one that says you can cast Lightning Bolt 3 times and then the power's gone. What else? You would have not interacted with the brides. Probably only Escher would be the only one that you would have interacted with. The rock, Anastasia taming the rock was not in the book. I thought it was just like a counter to your dragon. But lucky for you, you had polymorph, which was great. I'm not upset about it. I thought that was a great idea.
Oh, that was one of my favorite moments. I take it back. That was my favorite moment.
Okay.
When I thought of what to turn him into, I was like, I don't have a bag of holding to throw the monster into.
Yeah, that's always a strategy.
I know. A goldfish.
Somehow, whenever Cynthia casts polymorph, it always succeeds, and we always happen to have a bag of holding and just
that
wipe
happened
out.
The one time. It was so fun, but
no, I feel like it's happened like 3 times now.
Well,
where like
the first time it happened, it was with the big boss, and it was not supposed to work.
Yeah.
And I had to roll a nat 20 to make it work, and it did. I did roll a nat 20, and so it did work. Yeah, it was that one was amazing. So I tried it again, and I was able to do it. So I was kind of amazed.
Yeah.
Did it work?
Speaking of doing things to the big bad, he has legendary resistances, which means that if he fails a save, he can change that save to a success. He rolled very bad several times, which meant that he had to use his legendary resistances very quickly. So I was like, oh, why are you rolling so terribly? Like, I rolled an 8.
It was destined,
and a
man.
9.
We rolled so many natural 20s, and he rolled poorly, and like we had to go and beat up that nerd.
The curse of Strahd was, though he curses you with bad rolls, when it comes down to the wire, he's cursed with the bad rolls.
Yeah. It's only fair. It was like, finally, this is destined. Like, we gotta beat you up at least.
Right.
So what was your
rock was cool.
What was your overall feeling about the game? Do you like Curse of Strahd? If you had a chance, would you play it again with a different outcome? It's a lot of spoilers to be like know where everything is, and to know like who Vasily is, what the Abbot's about.
Right. I don't think it's a game I should play again because of the way it's set up. That's all the surprises and stuff. That wouldn't be. Myself, I have a hard time with unrelenting despair. A game that is geared to make you feel despair is probably not a game I want to play a lot. I had the experience. I did it. There were some really fun moments, and we eventually were successful in the game without having to wimp it up at all. But the fact that the game is all about making you feel hopeless, that to me is not especially during the pandemic and everything. I was dealing with other stuff. I needed hope in my life.
That's fair.
Yeah, there was definitely times where it was like, I'm not in a good mental state to play this game, but I'm gonna do it.
Yeah,
And
I get it.
and there were times where it was just like, it just added on to it. It was like, there were some times where it was just like, advent to Josh. And it was just like the final tipping point. And it's like, it's nothing. It's a game. But because of like what I'm going through in outside real life, it was just like, you know, like, oh, I had a terrible day. I got yelled at by my boss. I got, you know, I got a ticket. And then like, oh, your player loses power in this game and you're weaker now. And it's like, God damn it, it's that tipping point. And it means nothing, but it's like, that's that tipping point. So like, you definitely have to be in a good mental state to play Curse of Strahd.
Yeah.
Because there is that feeling of despair. To compare it to Call of Cthulhu, you're supposed to feel weak and like a normie trying to investigate this strange supernatural event, and you find all the clues and you still die. There is no preventing it because you're not a hero, but it's like, but it's fine, I'm not a hero. There's like, at least I know what's going on before I die. It's very different to how Curse of Strahd is, where Curse of Strahd is, you feel helpless and weak, and you're supposed to be like this hero and punch stuff and be able to fight, and you still feel weak. And it's like, I have the tools, but I just can't. I'm not able to do it for whatever reason. And that like is a worse helplessness, in my opinion.
Somehow I should be
should be able to deal with this, and yet for some godforsaken reason I can't kill these witches in this windmill.
Yeah.
Like, it's a different kind of helplessness compared to Curse of Strahd. I think it's a really well written campaign.
It's very popular for good reason.
Yeah. It definitely feels like it is difficult to replay because you know all the secrets and all the stuff. But I feel like if you had like if you had another DM who understood that, like, okay, I understand that people played Curse of Strahd before, so I'm gonna make changes, then I feel like, it would probably be something I would play again.
It's interesting to me that the title Curse of Strahd, the curse is that he can't ever have the woman he wants. That, to me, that was an interesting discovery.
Yeah, you think that he is cursing you. The Curse of Strahd is that this land is despair. And
that's what I thought it was. Yeah,
it's what you're supposed to think. And then you realize that the Curse of Strahd is his curse. It's the curse of this person. He never is allowed to be happy. He's never allowed to be with Tatiana. I think that's very clever with me.
Yeah, me too.
So, you thought it was well written, but it's not the campaign for you. Especially in this state of mind.
Even if you told me, I didn't know ahead of time that it was going to be all about despair and, all that, I'd still want to play it. I love the horror genre and all that stuff. So, I'd still want to play it. I'm glad I got to play it. And if I hadn't, I'd still want to do it. Heads up that no such thing as getting a good night's sleep or, that kind of stuff. That was hard. Like, no, you can't sleep. What?
Oh,
right?
Yeah. One thing that I had kind of struggled with at the end was end game, where you are where you've accepted the dark powers and you are almost ready to face Strahd. If there was ever a moment where you die, like outright die and not come
Mhm.
back. How do you put a player back into this game? How,
Oh.
like, do they just show up? Like, because Strahd allows people to make it inside whether he wants them to come in.
Uh-huh.
So how does a player remake a character? And
Oh.
I went to the subreddit and asked that, and they had a few like good ideas, but I had built a town full of heroes, former heroes, that could accept a gift and return to their former selves and fight. So if you had made a character, you would have fought your way out of Berez, newly strengthed character that
Oh.
was at the retirement place.
I see.
And I was like, oh, that's such a great idea, but nobody ever died. So
What were the suggestions that the subreddit gave you?
I think there was like one suggestion that was some person stumbled upon the Ember Temple and like accepted the gift. There was just like there are souls that are wandering around that could inhabit a body just like Fen.
Oh, right.
But that was Fen's character. Why would that happen again? It's not interesting to the other person. So if somebody died, they'd pull themselves up by their bootstraps and try and find other people who are facing Strahd.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, was it like if we had fallen while fighting Strahd, or was it like...
No, it was before you fought. Because if you had
Okay.
fallen while fighting Strahd, that
It's
would
like
be
you
the
did
end of
it.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
You that the challenge of like fighting the big bad and not having anyone come back for you. If everyone had died, it says in the book that Strahd would continue his quest. Irina probably would have died in the fight. Vampire, his patron, would have killed her in some way, and so he would have continued to rule the land as shittily as he always has and continue looking for Tatiana.
So it had just been like a... All right, well, the circle continues.
Yep. And
Did
then it would have
my-
been like, all right, so get a new group of players and try and get them to play Curse of Strahd. To fight the Strahd that has always have been defeating previous adventurers. That's what, that's kind of the implication of Curse of Strahd. He just continues to be shitty and allow people inside of his realm and then kill them. Somebody had a question?
Did my protection from evil spell, did that keep Tatiana from dying, or Irina from dying? I just
Well-
can't remember her name.
Yes, but he would have killed you first before going after her. So, like, she was just an afterthought. His first focus was killing everyone in that room.
Okay. So Irina, yeah, he just left her behind pretty quickly, but he knew we wouldn't hurt her, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
He also knew that if she died, her soul would remain here and he would pursue her again. So her
Oh.
dying wasn't super important to him. He knows that he will continue on fighting or searching and whatnot.
Right. Interesting.
And
Was there any thing as us as players that you did, like, that you wish like we did differently? Like, it's like, oh my god, I wish you guys didn't do that.
curiosity. I wish you had been more curious. I put you in situations where you could have searched around a little bit and found either items or lore that would have either helped you or just been interesting plot devices. Also, kind of working together, knowing each other's strengths, and knowing each other's weaknesses as well, and overcoming those weaknesses. Just kind of more of a team thing, I guess. I wanted Maeve to stay, not just because I really enjoyed playing games with her, but a rogue is very helpful in most campaigns where things are locked. Locked chests, locked doors, sneaking around, pickpocketing, being greedy and looting things. Yeah. Someone who with a huge amount of greed would have triggered a fight with the Amber Golem, and as a party you feel, oh jeez, well, here we go again, I gotta take him down because this guy's being a dumbass, and killed it, and then looted the vault, taking all those items and whatnot. I would say bravery, but this campaign is not about that. This campaign's about just like the despair. And so, just like curiosity mostly, wanting and having more drive, having what's called a face, where you talk to people, ask them questions about themselves, try to get them to say secrets, or whatnot. Just have someone, a leader, to talk to people, to say, let's do this, instead of like, what do we do now, kind of thing. But that's just what every campaign needs. It's not specifically you. I think that's it, though. I really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it too. Do you have any final questions or thoughts about Curse of Strahd?
What happened to my undead in the top castle?
In the top castle?
At the entrance, they were fighting
the
golems and stuff.
After the castle started falling apart, they fled. I think I said that you met up with them on your way out.
Oh, okay.
Only your experts were dead. Your spellcasters and warriors were all together when you killed yourself.
Aww.
Nice. Yeah, that was one thing. And then, like, what was the deal with Isaac? Like, could we have gotten Isaac to join us?
If you had Irina with you more, he would have joined you. He just had an obsession with her. So
that would have been creepy.
His motivation was not like a romantic obsession, just like a Close Encounters of the Third Kind obsession. Okay. This is important. I don't know why, but this means something.
Oh, all right.
So he would have followed her, and if you had, he would have protected her. He wouldn't have protected you. So if she had gotten in any danger, he would have protected her. Anything else? Does Oz have any questions or thoughts about the game?
Milo? Oh, I think he went off. Do you have any thoughts or questions about Curse of Strahd? Okay, he says, no, thanks a lot, and it was fun.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
What about you? Yeah. Did you have any final thoughts or questions?
I do not. I was glad to hear all the background of the story and all that kind of stuff, and what would have happened if we had done this or that, or, some of the things we got right. So it's nice once in a while to get things right,
Real quick, I am curious because you had said that you had made a backup character. What was your backup character going to be?
It's basically Bailey.
A warlock?
She was going to be a wizard, but yeah, yeah. Bailey the wizard, just basically another one, just exactly like
But more flame oriented.
more flame oriented. Yeah.
Less
Kid.
Yeah,
lightning bolt.
Hazel was very lightning oriented.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
A lot of
had all
lightning
that
bolts.
evocation stuff. Yeah, and and I don't know. I think I need to choose more wisely when it comes to realizing that there's other people in the room, and there's only so many people I could. That sculpting ability was super handy.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And that was the only reason I was able to use some of my spells sometimes. But yeah, the more I could, do that kind of stuff, that was so much more handy to be able to use it anyway. But yeah,
Less area of effect, more
yeah,
single target.
yeah, probably. And that would not mean evocation, which evocation is often the
Effect.
big stuff, yeah. But yeah. So yeah.
Well,
so ready for the next one. I'm still off. I'm still ready to play the next game.
Well, if you don't have any more questions or final thoughts, that is Curse of Strahd. We are done.
Wow.
Nice.
You defeated it. You left the true neutral victor to take care of Barovia.
Oh boy.
I haven't I meant to do it. I meant to look up what his dark force would have been, but I forgot. I think it would be just some sort of like angsty person teenagers would love.
Yeah.
Some sort of angsty person, like this person.
Angst pants.
Oh, like so.
Some
Victor
form of
could get
patron.
Yeah.
Victor would get a patron.
Yeah,
Everybody
because
has one.
you have
Yeah.
to rule with a patron.
Oh, wouldn't it been Mordenkainen?
No, it would be a dark force. Because that's
Oh.
what rules the Shadowfell. The dark forces are ruling all these demiplanes, and they have these champions that is their voice. Like Strahd is the voice of the dark force vampire.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably been something angsty or something like just magic based, like some kind of lich. Like, look, here's how you can do magic, very powerful magic, and live forever. Live with your skeleton cats.
Yeah.
Skeleton cats.
Maybe his will be Bast.
Yeah.
Right. And why wouldn't it be?
Right? Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, fun
Or
stuff.
it'd be like Hades or something. Hephaestus.
Yeah.
It's like, we make stuff. We don't look great, but we make stuff.
That's right. Oh, interesting. Well,